Hello everyone and welcome to Deadline Day Live. We're here for the Deadline Day. We're bringing you all the latest transfer news and obviously talking about the done deals already. We're here with the one, the only, the Housewives' favourite, Mr. Ed McCain.
It's been said. Thank you very much for having me back this week.
I've called already 2024, England's going to win the World Cup.
Great shout. Great way to kick the show off. I am absolutely buzzing.
Okay.
Transfer deadline day.
Exactly. We've already had some amazing deals throughout the day already. Aubameyang to Arsenal, Giroud to Chelsea, Batshuayi to Borussia Dortmund. It's been one of those days where it's been crazy. Actually, records have been broken. No amount of money has matched this particular transfer window. But throughout the day, we're going to be talking to our experts from the newsroom. We've got a Man City fan. We've got Matt from the 1-2 show joining us. He's going to be talking about the Spurs Man United game where... Isn't it a case where...
2-0 up at the moment. Spurs are absolutely cruising.
Exactly. So Spurs are cruising. They're already 2-0 up. They've
Big
just signed
second
Sanchez, so everyone thought that Man United were going to walk games, but that's not the case. So we're going to be talking about how Aubameyang can fit into the Arsenal team, how Lucas Moura can fit into the Spurs team. So much to talk about.
So many
juicy deals. It's going to be an epic show.
So many juicy deals. It has been kind of a quiet January for a lot of part. I know a lot of money's been spent, but there's been like these random bursts of activity rather than...
In terms of those random bursts, which has been your favourite signing so far?
Well, maybe not signing, but this whole merry-go-round saga between Chelsea, Dortmund and Arsenal has just been so much value, I think. I love things like that. You know, Chelsea not letting Batshuayi go anywhere because they needed a striker. They want Giroud. Giroud wants to go to there, not Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund want to sell Aubameyang to Arsenal, but can't until they've got players. So it all just worked out perfectly in the end, and it was kind of...
It was nice.
It was kind of neat and tidy.
Where it didn't work out like, did it? So basically, Arsenal needed Thomas Lemar to let Sanchez go.
Exactly.
That didn't happen, so things.
I think that was all a bit too nail biting and left too much for the end. This whole Aubameyang deal has been rumbling on for the last week, and I think I really like it. It was all wrapped up nicely with a nice bow in the end, and I think all three strikers are in a nice place now.
So in terms of the three, who do you think is going to do the best?
Well, I think the person with the biggest point to prove is Batshuayi.
Okay.
He was a red-hot young talent. You know, West Ham were in for him, a couple of other Premier League clubs. Chelsea got him, and then boom. It was like flatlined, no chances really. Scored a couple of big goals, the one that won in the league last season, for example. But then he's just been so frustrated sitting on a bench. Chelsea fans, let me know what you think. But it must be frustrating for you guys. But now he's gone to Borussia Dortmund. This is like no excuses now.
Yeah.
They're a big club. I mean, they're not in the Champions League now. They messed that up. But they're a big, classic Champions League club. Desperate for a striker now that Oba's gone, and come on back.
Can he fill those boots?
I think it's going to be really hard because I mean Aubameyang was a bit of trouble from time to time at Dortmund. He had his off-field issues, but on the field there was no question. He was the Don. He took a while to settle in after he joined, but yeah, Batshuayi, prove to everyone. You know, I'm not a fan of Chelsea, as you all know, but I like to see young players do well. World Cup year, go ahead and smash it, mate. This is your chance.
Well, on that cliffhanger from Ed, we're going to one of our first callers in. We literally have Alex from the newsroom, who is an expert on the Premier League. He's going to be giving us a little bit of a rundown on what we can expect from the recent signings into the Premier League. So Alex, how you doing, mate?
Evening, guys. How you doing?
Cool. So first up, we just want to talk to you about that Riyad Mahrez Man City transfer. What's gone on there? Why didn't it go through?
Basically, because Man City didn't want to pay the 95 million. I think that's what it was. They just balked at the transfer fee. Really, they did 4 bids. The highest one was 65, and they rejected them all. Really, I think Mahrez is a brilliant player, but is he worth 95 million? Probably not. But fair play to Leicester. They held firm, and that was it really.
Yeah, so it sounds very interesting. Also, when we look forward to the Aubameyang Arsenal deal, what can Arsenal fans really expect from Aubameyang?
To be honest, I think he's exactly what Arsenal needs. He's a quick player. He can stretch defences. He's a proper finisher. And now that Ozil's staying for definite, I think he'll be absolutely perfect. I know he's had his problems over the past 12 months, but I think that's because he was angling for a move. Do I see his behaviour being an issue now? maybe, maybe not. But Arsenal have been a bit too nice over the past 5 or 6 years, and maybe
A player with a little bit of bite, a little bit of grit's
yeah,
maybe the thing
exactly.
they need.
Maybe that is exactly what they
So
need
for
to
our
kick off.
English fans who might not know the Bundesliga so well, would you say in terms of reputation, in terms of character, is he similar to a Balotelli or is he not that bad?
I think that's probably been overblown a little bit. He is a little bit temperamental, but he's a brilliant striker. He's a proper centre forward, proper finisher. I think he's exactly what Arsenal needs. Someone to stretch defences, someone who runs in behind. I think he'd be absolutely perfect for them.
Then in terms of any rumours, because obviously Arsenal are very top heavy now. Bringing in Mkhitaryan, bringing in Aubameyang.
They're doing a PSG a bit, aren't they?
Exactly.
They've just gone
defensive wise. I
ham
know
on
there was
the
talk of
front
Johnny
line.
Evans. There was talk of even David Luiz from Chelsea. Is any rumours happening right now, or do you think it's too late?
I think it's too late, to be honest. Johnny Evans was one we heard earlier on. I think Arsenal offered around 12 million, which West Brom rejected out of hand. I've also just been hearing Kostas Manolas from Roma.
Okay.
But to be honest, I think it's probably going to be a bit too late. Obviously, central defence is an issue for Arsenal. It's something they have been looking at. But yeah, I think it'd probably be a bit too late for them.
Come on, who needs defenders? Hey, just load up that front line and blow them out of the water. It's exciting, and as you mentioned a little bit earlier on there, I mean, Özil signing his deal is almost like a signing in itself as well, because especially with Sanchez going there, like a lot of sort of sad-faced Arsenal fans thinking it was game over. I mean, I know you rate Özil as well, so exactly. It was a real worry to lose them both, and to bring in players like this and to get Aubameyang on board, I think the Özil situation is fantastic, because if you get a striker as good as Aubameyang with the quality behind him of Mesut Özil, then it's a match made in heaven.
So then again, in terms of lineups, how can Arsenal find a way to play Lacazette, Mkhitaryan, Ozil?
I think that's the question. Are they? Yeah. What do you reckon? How are they going to fit in together? Are they going to have to play a front two like a Dwight York, Andy Cole thing, or?
I think it might be difficult for Lacazette, to be honest. I know they paid 50 million for him in the summer, but he hasn't exactly set the world alight.
He's not, has he? He's been a little bit disappointing. He's got 9 goals, I think, which is okay for a first season, but
I think
you expect more for that price tag.
People don't care about first seasons anymore. They kind of want instant results. So just flipping the subject a little bit, what can Chelsea fans expect from Giroud? Do you think if he comes on, he's going to be instantly dwell well with that team?
I think this is a brilliant signing for Chelsea, to be honest. I can't really believe that Arsenal have let him go to Chelsea. He's proven Premier League quality. You don't score over 100 goals for Arsenal if you're not a good striker. So for the money they paid, I think it's 21, 22 million. When you compare him to the names they were being linked to, Peter Crouch, Andy Carroll, all those sorts of names, yeah.
No
Giroud,
comparison, is there? Yeah, exactly. I was saying to Antoine a little bit earlier, we were discussing before the show this whole Olivier Giroud thing, and perhaps you agree with me. I think that was an absolute banana skin for them. They had a blinding window, and I know that they had to give, or Chelsea had to land someone to facilitate this merry-go-round, but I really feel like they've messed up there, and it's just written in the stars that he's going to turn up at the Emirates and score a winner in some big clash, because they always do that. And I think he's such a solid player who's given so much to Arsenal, and okay, good for him, he's got a good move, but I feel like it's going to come back and haunt them.
Yeah,
Giroud is
that. I think
good player.
I might give you an opinion as well on this, Talik. I think Giroud's going to be even better for Chelsea simply because they've got better fullbacks who can do better crosses for him, so he can be more of an attacking threat. Like Hector Bellerin is a good cross to the ball, Monreal is a good cross to the ball, but Arsenal doesn't play that way so much, whereas Alonso's been literally thrown in crosses from Morata.
And Chelsea like this burly striker a little bit more than Arsenal ever did. You know, they were always a little more fine-tuned to Bergkamps and Henry's, these sort of like...
finesse.
Yeah, you know, slightly more wayfish, quick, very technical players. And Giroud, what do you reckon? I reckon he's a match made in heaven.
Like I said, I think it's a brilliant signing for Chelsea. They've been looking for a backup to Morata all window. And
is he back up, do we think?
I think Giroud is probably a little bit better than Morata.
Yeah, I'm really glad you say that, because I mean Morata's this, like, you know, fresh cool cat off the continent, and he's come in and he's done a perfectly good job. But for me,
he's not blinding.
He's no Olivier
Giroud.
Giroud.
Might even suit Arsenal's play more than he does Chelsea.
Yeah, maybe.
Like you said, he's not that Didier type player. Whereas they're used to having, even though Costa's not the tallest person, but he's strong, he works hard, and he'll graft. Whereas Morata's more finesse again. I don't feel he really wants to put like grit into his game.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I really do think this is going to come back to bite Arsenal. Like you say, I can see him netting a winner in the last minute at the Emirates in a few months' time. So.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd put money on it, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
The Premier League is like so predictable when things like this happen. If you make a big signing or you let a striker go to a rival, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to make you pay for it. Exactly. It's just like a soap opera at the Premier League. It's so obvious.
Just moving on to Lucas Moura joining Tottenham. What can Spurs fans really expect from him?
Yeah, this has been rumbling on for a few weeks, but yeah, it finally got confirmed today. This is an interesting one for me. I'm not wholly convinced by Lucas Moura, to be perfectly honest. I remember a few years ago when PSG signed him, Manchester United were all over him, and they really, really tried to get him.
A lot of money as well.
Yeah, I think he went for about 40 million in the end.
38 million pounds, big club, and he's never set the world on fire again, is he? It's a bit like the Lacazette deal at Arsenal.
So, he went to Paris and was expected to be their big player for a few years, and he's really struggled. As soon as Neymar came, the writing was on the wall for him. Really.
But a point to prove, perhaps. Again, a bit like Batshuayi going to Dortmund. Do you reckon he thinks? Maybe also with Aubameyang, these are the sort of players where they think, right, I've come out of a difficult spell. Okay, Aubameyang was always great on the pitch, but Moura as well, and Aubameyang, they're sort of leaving a club where it's not been the easiest, smoothest for them recently. And maybe Moura's going to say, right, this is a big chance. Don't blow this one. Hit the ground running, train hard, prove yourself.
On top of that, is that going to be hard for him just to make his way into that team? Because I feel like that Spurs lineup is quite solidified, where they know each other, they know how they play. And it's kind of like when Pep said he didn't want Sanchez in the end because he didn't want to break up that team ethos they have.
I think it'd be difficult for Lucas Moura to get into that team, to be honest. You look at the Tottenham game tonight, Son, Ali, Christensen, Eriksen behind Kane. That's Lucas Moura, that's his position in one of those front four, and for me he's not getting any.
I think maybe 6 months ago or a year ago you might say he'd get ahead of Son. Because the others, I mean, Ali's this young buck, real aggressive, goal scoring, attacking midfielder, and Christian Eriksen, exactly. And Christian Eriksen needs no explanation. He's just class. But Son this season has been a revelation. I mean, he's always been solid and done his job, especially when Kane's been injured in the past. But this year, he's grabbing the headlines too. He's really, really showing what a quality player he can be, going past people, getting important goals. So I don't think there's an obvious candidate at all there for him to replace him.
I think they bought him for depth. Pochettino's obviously looked at the squad. They've got the Champions League coming up. They're still in the FA Cup. They want to push for top four. And he's obviously thought we need depth, in the front positions. Lucas Moura is available. Paris Saint-Germain want to sell. But is he better than what they've already got? No, I don't think he is. He's going to...
Well, do you think maybe it was like maybe it's a little bit like what Mourinho said about Alexis Sanchez when he signed him? He said, okay, so they weren't really looking at Sanchez, but when the juiciest orange on the tree becomes available, you've got to pick it. Maybe do you reckon maybe Pochettino thought, okay, there's an opportunity to get a good player, so screw the depth and screw what you need. You have to make these signings when you can.
I think in relative terms, I think he cost 25 million in the end, which isn't a huge amount of money really. And he's a Brazil international. He's a Champions League player, but is he better than Son? Is he better than Ali? Is he better than Eriksen?
Not for me.
He is not. So, I mean, I hope he hits the ground running. I really do, because you want to see the best attacking players in the Premier League do well. But I think it's going to be a struggle for him. He's got to adapt to the Premier League. I know he's got Aurier there, who used to be his teammate at Paris Saint-Germain, so that might be helpful for him. But he's got to adapt to London. He's got to adapt to his new teammates, the way Tottenham play, everything. So I think it'd be difficult. I really do.
So then, in terms of the whole window, what do you think's been the best piece of business from any of the clubs?
I
think keeping Peter Crouch has got to be up there.
Well,
isn't it?
Everybody wants Crouch.
I think probably Aubameyang. I know it was a lot of money, but I think he's probably on par with Sanchez. If you look at it from an Arsenal perspective, he's on half the wages. I think he'll score more goals, and he's exactly what they need. like I said, with Ozil staying, I think he's perfect. Then you look at Man City, you've got Laporte. They were after another centre-back. Company, I think that's probably it for him now. So getting him, I know he was 50-odd million, but he looks a class. Well,
but Alex, what do you reckon with Company then? Because, I mean, he's been the best servant going. But do you think that if he's fit, is it still game over? Is he still not going to be top dog? Or do you think Laporte or Stones will make way for him?
I think the way that Company is and as a player, it was never about blistering pace with him.
Yeah.
So, even if he is maybe 80, 90%, he can read the game so well. He could, to be honest, he probably is better than Otamendi, but he's never even 80 or 90%. So
yeah, it's really sad when that happens to a player, especially one like him, because he was just, like you say, really good reader of the game, but he also had this leadership quality which sometimes lacks at top teams. You go looking for characters, and the Company was like a throwback from the old sort of Arsenal, Man United, Vieira, Keane sort of style of captain, wasn't he? He was he's just like a pillar of leadership and such a good player, and I really hope he gets to.
Now it feels like they just give the captain's armband to anyone who's been there long enough. Like certain teams, like they're not actual leaders, not Vieira, they're not Keane, and I think Company was the last of that breed. But just quickly, Alex, as you're in the newsroom, any other rumours that are swirling around about anyone coming to the Prem or leaving different clubs?
To be honest, right now, I think because there's games on tonight, there's not really an awful lot happening now. I think all the big transfers have happened. The last one was Lucas Moura, and I can't really see any more happening tonight. Maybe, like I said earlier on, Arsenal do want another central defender, but how long have we got now? We've got another 2 hours. I think it'd be really difficult now for a big transfer to happen. So hang on, sorry. Also, we've just been. Hang on.
Breaking news.
Andre Ayew has just.
That was so worth looking over to your right there. I can't believe it.
One literally live, a little transfer.
He's gone. Is that for 20 million quid?
It was. There
is some money being thrown around on that guy, which is unbelievable. What on earth is that about? He went for 25, I think, didn't he? And he's come back for almost the same cash. What on earth are they paying that for?
Oh, it's crazy days. But just quickly, in terms of teams, who do you think hasn't done the business they needed to do? Like, who do you think's left the gap they needed to fill?
I don't feel good about Tottenham at all, to be honest. I know they've signed Lucas Moura, but I don't think that's a position they needed to strengthen, really. When you look at them at centre half, I think they're struggling with that Alderweireld. They just look light all over the pitch, really. And now, coming into the business end of the season, they're going to be in 3 competitions. I don't feel that good about Tottenham, to be perfectly honest.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Alex. It's been a great chat. Obviously, throughout the day, we might come back to you again to see if there's any more breaking news. I know you guys in the newsroom are working really hard tonight. And we've got loads of questions here from our viewers as well, so we'll definitely shoot back to you later on as well.
Cheers, guys. No worries.
Thanks, Alex.
Good to talk to you. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Sweet. So just quickly, we're going to go to your questions whilst we have a little bit of spare time. One person wants to know, who do you think is going to win the Champions League, Ed?
Champions League, I've said on previous episodes, I'm sticking by it, Barcelona. I know they've signed Coutinho, he can't play, he's cup tied, but I think the squad they had already was one of the most exciting squads. Messi when he's in form, Iniesta's still at the top of his game. For me, Barcelona. And then someone asked, who do you think is going to be the second team to beat Manchester City? Well, I think it might not be another big side. I reckon, I've said before as well, I think sometimes this, you take your eye off the ball against the small sides, and even, we look at January transfer days when the little clubs, Swansea, bottom of the league, they can spend £20 million on a striker. Okay, it's only Andre Ayew, and it's not the most exciting thing, but it goes to show you that everyone's got a bit of cash, and if City are going to turn up to these big games against Man United, Old Trafford and things, they're going to be on the ball, but if you take your eye off the ball against a Swansea or a Watford or a Newcastle, then they can punish you. And I feel like a little club is going to do a dirty number on. And do you think that's what happened to Arsenal the other day? They just turned up thinking it's going to be easy money. This is it, like easy 3 points, and then from there they end up getting battered. That's the thing. I mean, you can't go to anywhere in the Premier League expecting a win. It doesn't matter if you're Man City or you're Newcastle. You have to turn up. You have to be right on the ball. Everyone has to be playing well to get a win against anyone. So, but we'll see.
So we're going to throw to Matt Froelich, who was literally watching Tottenham dish a beat into Man United.
We've dragged him away
in his Tottenham shirt.
He doesn't want to be talking to us.
So what, just
make sure it's got a nice little shine on
Lovely
the
stuff.
What's the score of the game, Matt?
It's 2-0 at the moment, and I'm
How long left?
I'm praying for a third to make it safe. I tell you.
Well, there was a goal scored in the first 10 seconds, right, by Christian Eriksen. You were probably still in the loo or clicking a kettle on for that. You missed that one, probably, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. It was funny. There was the second fastest goal in Premier League history, the first belonging to Ledley King. So I think Spurs have got a knack for it, obviously.
So before the game, when you turned up, did you envision it being 2-0, or were you thinking that Sanchez were going to do a number on you?
I was anticipating a little bit closer than it is. I mean, it's always coming off the back of such a poor result against Newport. It was kind of in the offing that we had to do something about it.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, I don't know how many teams could cope with conceding after 11 seconds. I mean, to be fair, they've worked their way back into it. It was a poor own goal from Jones, but I don't think. No, I certainly wasn't expecting this kind of performance.
No, it looks absolutely class. I saw that Jones on goal. It was absolutely lovely. That was really funny, wasn't it?
It was a great finish if he was our forward, yeah.
And
this isn't a surprise. I mean, what's going on at Stamford Bridge is more of a surprise. We're Bournemouth 3-0 up.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we just had Alex on the line. He was saying how he was actually worried for Spurs. He doesn't think you've done enough in the transfer market. He says, obviously you brought in Lucas Moura, but he says in other positions you're quite light. So if we ignore the result of today's game, do you think you should have done a little bit more, or are you happy with what you have?
I think considering nobody left, I'm not overly... Look, if you look at it from the fact that minus Lucas Moura, right, nobody left, that was the squad that has got us almost knocked out the FA Cup, knocked out the League Cup, and, you know, in fifth, kind of challenging for fourth. So if you look at it from that point of view, we weren't where we wanted to be with our expectations. We should have, you know, invested more. However, I think it's more than just, you know, comparing a squad to where you are. And I think Moore is a fantastic signing.
Well, so Alex wasn't so convinced. He said that he's never really set the world alight PSG. There was the old rumours before he joined PSG of him going to Manchester United. So there were a lot of big clubs chasing him. And I don't think Alex has any doubt that there's talent there, but it's whether or not he can actually, for the first time in his career at a big club, really utilise it. So what do you reckon? Are you at all worried about that?
I mean...
Well, on top of that, who did you drop to put him into the starting lineup?
I think Son. And I tell you what, I think Son is a great player. He's been really good form. But sometimes when he's slightly inconsistent, I just think Ali and Eriksen are far too valuable to kind of think about dropping. And that's the only really position I can see him in. The only problem I worry for is that he is, certainly from what I've seen, he's a very quick, very skillful right winger. Something that we don't play. Right? And it gets to the point where the width comes from our fullbacks, and I can kind of see him being reduced to an impact sub. Much like Walcott was at Arsenal, you know, where there are tired legs, you bring on some fresh, speedy legs in the last 20 minutes. Because it's always been that problem I found with Spurs over the years, that if you play one speedy winger on one side and not on the other, you're completely unbalanced. But, I mean, first and foremost, I think, in terms of him just as an individual, 25 million is a steal now.
Yeah, 25 million is absolutely nothing in today's market. And the good thing is, I mean, like we said, because it's not very much money, and because there is talent there, it's always worth taking a gamble on players like this. And he could, I mean, it can't really go one of two ways. It can't be a disaster at that price. So, okay, it might not work out and he ends up on the bench a little bit more. But if it does work out, that'll be like signing of the century. It'll be absolutely fantastic if he goes ahead and smashes it.
Musa Sissoko is done pretty poorly in 18 months for 30 million. So Moura can't do any worse than that for 25.
No, you'd really struggle to do worse than that.
Bombshell from Matt. Just quickly, one of our 1-2 fans wants to know who you think is going to get relegated. Just to flip the script a little bit.
Who's going to get relegated?
Yeah, which team?
Who's joining Swansea, basically?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's joining Swansea? I still think Palace are in a bit of a mare.
What, with Uncle Roy? Mate, that hurts as a Fulham.
Uncle Roy's doing a good job.
Sorry.
So you've gone with Palace and Swansea. Who else?
I think Stoke.
Stoke.
Yeah, I
think
think
Stoke
it's about bloody time that Stoke buggered off.
Yeah,
We
Stoke.
can all agree
Yeah.
with that sentiment, can't we?
You know what I mean? Like the old Pulis sort of. You know, you don't want to go on a Tuesday night at Stoke.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like when like they're selling the rights across like the Atlantic, they're like, okay, Stoke versus Crystal Palace isn't exactly drawing in the Americans.
I think
they're letting down the.
I think we've reached a unanimous decision that Stoke can bugger off.
Exactly. They can.
Yeah.
They've been expelled from the
They're not
Premier
even
League.
they're not even shit enough to be funny. They're just crap and boring, and they can bugger off. I mean, Swansea are calamity, and that's quite funny. Isn't
Same
it?
with West Brom.
Swansea out
Yeah,
taking
West
scouts,
Brom, and
Liverpool and
I
Arsenal.
hate Pardew. He's such a knob end.
Yeah, Pardew's not
Just
the
go.
guy to lead anyone anywhere.
He's a clown, that guy. When he tried to start a fight with that player for Hull a few years ago, that was like the final straw for me. I just thought, what a knob.
Yep. We'll confirm that Pardew is a knob. That's the
Good.
word of the day. So just quickly, Matt, what do you think has been the best transfer business done this January, regardless if it's Spurs or not?
The best transfer business. I mean, well, it's hard to tell now because Moura hasn't played.
Just for yourself, who you think's got the most promise? Like, which player do you think actually I'm excited to see them play, or just generally you think they can have a good impact?
The player who I think will make the biggest impact will be Aubameyang.
Second person to say it. Okay.
However, just very quickly, I don't think a striker should have been a priority for Arsenal.
No, we were saying that earlier. It's like PSG latching Neymar onto the front of their fucking Arsenal. They don't need that.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. With the players that was left, like we've just got rid of Debussy, Coquelin, like we're weak at the back already, and we haven't got a defensive midfielder now, like technically, apart from Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who were playing out of position. So maybe if we decide to play him in the right position, but he's young, and he definitely can't carry the load of Arsenal's weak defence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a weird bit of business, I'd say. It's a weird bit of business.
Yeah, I mean, 58 million for Aubameyang is a great player. I just think that it was other positions were needed.
Yeah, it was a little bit short, and also letting Giroud go, as I've said before, not the best bit of business in the world. I like
a lot of players go.
Yeah, I mean, the Giroud thing will always be beyond me. I really hope and this is weird for me to say, I really hope he's a success at Chelsea because I just like him
as a person.
He's just. I mean, I know he had some of those off the field issues with his wife, but let's not go into those, Mr. Giroud. Shame on you. But on the pitch, yeah, he's a sexy man. I mean, you know, a lot of women are going to be looking at that guy. He's a sexy guy, but he's been such a servant to Arsenal, and he smashed it, and it will be a shame.
So just as a quick little question, who has the toughest job to break to their girlfriend or partner about them moving?
We all know that's the real question here. Do you reckon Batshuayi's missus is saying, I'm not fucking going to Dortmund? Where the hell is that and why?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, Giroud's missus is moving from North to West London, so she's not going to complain.
Much nicer area. I'm from that neck of the woods. Lovely
stuff.
I mean,
and Aubameyang's moving to London, so there's no problem. I think Batshuayi's missus is not going to be best pleased.
And I don't think there is enough gold-plated Jeeps and Lamborghinis driving around North London at the moment. So Aubameyang is...
to be making a killing.
It's exactly what they needed.
I feel like Aubameyang's the kind of person who doesn't care about yellow lines.
He'll park wherever the fuck he wants.
Everybody wins.
Aubameyang.
Get a bit of ticket money into the economy.
He's got a bit of a Balotelli streak to him.
Just a quick heads up, what is the score of the Tottenham game right now?
Scores on the doors.
It is still 2-0 with just over 20 minutes to go.
Look at him, pretending he's watching. He's got Friends or Big Bang Theory on that TV. He's not a football fan.
I tell you,
his shirt. He's stolen that shirt.
I'm not going to lie. I'm at a mate's place. We've got Spurs United over there. We've got Leicester Everton on the other screen. So it's a proper football setup for the evening.
Sounds decent.
An eye on everything and the transfer news.
We'll definitely throw back to you later on, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Good to talk to you, Matt.
We don't have the ball to do the 1-2 you usually messed up, but we'll try and get a ball to you next time. You can virtually throw it to us. But thanks for joining us, Matt.
No worries. All the best, guys. See you soon.
Cheers, Matt.
So once again, if you've literally just joined us from the Onefootball app, if you haven't got it already, make sure you download it, but click that subscribe button because throughout the show, we're going to be giving you the breaking transfer news, talking about the biggest transfers And obviously throughout our YouTube channel, we've got lots of great videos. So once again, make sure you subscribe. We're going to get to your questions as well. So keep banging them out in the chat and we'll keep answering them. So I'll give you one quick one. What has been the best transfer window in 10 years? Oh, that's a deep question.
Well, there's only one answer to this. You might think that's too vague a question, but the transfer window it was 2012, I think, when Fernando Torres went to Chelsea, and then his career nosedived.
Yeah.
And I used to love Fernando Torres, but that was sad. But because Chelsea wasted money, it was a good thing. But the same day, Andy Carroll joined Liverpool for £35 million.
Yeah, crazy days.
It was the biggest waste of money
Ever.
ever. So that was just an amazing transfer deadline day, things like that. Also, the one where Robinho joined Man City was quite fun.
Robinho was like Man City went through a stage of like, okay, we've got lots of money now. Let's buy loads of Arsenal players and let's buy some ballers.
And also Robinho, yeah.
Exactly.
Latch Robinho on the front to Arsenal's old back line, and it'll be fine.
It was good. Colo Torre, Sagna, Clichy. Yeah. Literally just picked us apart one by one. But yeah, Robinho was a true baller.
Yeah, he was. But funnily enough, he always said he'd never play away games, which I just thought was absolutely amazing. He was like, nah, I'm not going to Newcastle, mate. Bin that off. And he just stayed at home smoking shisha.
That's the life. That's the
That's
life.
Prem
That
football.
question was from Freestyle Bros. Really good question. Thank you for that. Make sure you subscribe. Quick question. We've got Laporte. Will he be good? Laporte, will he be good for City?
Laporte will be very good for City for one reason, which is that, well, apart from obviously defensive, very good, and he's cost a lot of money, and Pep says he's done his homework, but he's left-footed. Left-footed centre-backs are so hard to find these days, let alone ones that can really ball. So he's a great signing because he gives them a whole extra width to their passing.
And literally on that note, we have Man City blogger and also one of our Onefootball journalists upstairs, Mr. Dan Burke. Very nice beard, sir. We're going to be asking you all about Man City. Quick question. Do you think you've done the best business that you could have this January?
I don't know about the best. I mean, Laporte is a very good signing. He's playing tonight. He started his first game tonight, and he's had a really good game so far. I think it would have been nice to get another forward player in. Obviously, they tried to get Sanchez, that didn't work out. They tried to get Mahrez, that didn't work out either. I think they could, be engaged with a little right there towards the end of the season. City, I think it's one of the sort of forward players. But apart from that, yeah, I can't complain really.
What about this Mahrez thing then? Because I am a humongous fan of Riyad Mahrez. He's just got these weird, beautiful, slinky legs, snake hips. He just dances around people. And I mean, I'm not a City fan, but I love the idea of him going there because that would have just been such an incredible player to add to an already brilliant team. So, do you think that's sort of disappointing from a Manchester City perspective that he didn't get him, or do you think it was just a bit of like pointless frivolry, a bit of an added luxury that wasn't really required, so it's not a big deal?
Yeah, I think it would have been a really good signing, but I think that's the one that's far too much money.
I think it was 95 million that was quoted in the end, wasn't it? Which is
5 million for him today. And I wouldn't have paid any over 40 for him, really. The thing that I find baffling about it is that I think Leicester should have taken the money. I don't think anyone would be daft enough for 65 million for him in the future. He obviously doesn't want to be there, so I don't understand why they've not just done that deal, really.
Do you think it was more of a panic buy in terms of the price? Do you think Riyad Mahrez could have done you enough work to justify 55 to 65 million? Or would he just been around until Leroy Sané comes back and he would have just gone to the bench?
Yeah, probably the latter. I would have thought. I don't know if it was necessarily a panic buy. Apparently, they had identified him as a potential target earlier in the window. But like you say, I don't know if he would necessarily have been a player that you would see playing for City for years and years and years.
Well, it's possible you'll disagree with me here. You can tell me I'm wrong if you like, but I think an on-form Riyad Mahrez is better than either of those young bucks. I
like the pause where you're like, who's this guy?
I'm about to slap him down. I don't think Leroy Sané.
Take him out. Like this is my job.
Leroy Sané or Raheem Sterling couldn't have inspired a Leicester team to win the title, and he was.
Your reply to Ed.
Slap me down. I'm waiting for it.
Well, you might be right at this moment in time, but I think Leroy Sané is going to be one of the best players in the world in a few years. He's getting there already. I don't know if Sterling will be quite at that level, but he's having an amazing season as well. He's scored so many goals. So yeah, I mean, maybe they wouldn't have inspired Leicester to the title, like you say, and it would have been a decent signing for City. But long term, I think Sane and Sterling are the future of City's front
But it's
line.
on to Sterling, because obviously, like you said, he's scored a ridiculous amount of goals, and he's scored a lot of winning goals. It's not like he's just getting the one at the end of a 5-0 drumming. So do you think if Sterling repeats this season again next season, he will be solidified himself as world class?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about. I mean, it depends what you define as world class, really. I think it's a word that's thrown back quite a lot nowadays, and I think he's certainly on the way towards that. And you know, he's a very good player. I hope he has a really good World Cup ring in this summer as well. That will really sort of prove quite a lot of doubt as wrong. You know, City are convinced that he's a really good player, but I'm not sure the rest of the country is quite there yet. But yeah, I can see him still going from strength to strength, especially as long as Guardiola's coach. I mean, he's getting the best out of it at the moment, and long may it continue.
So then, in terms of like, have you got like a definition of world class in your head? Because remember, Guardiola came out and he was like, "I can't have 22 superstars. I just can't afford that." So, how do you define world class? Like, what ticks your boxes?
Well, I always think world class in the traditional sense is if planet Earth is playing against an alien race and which 11?
Yeah, we should have a team in reserve just in case that happens. It could be like Space Jam, right?
Just in case like the jam stars turn up, you need to have them. So yeah, do you think the future's bright for Sterling, or do you think this is one season?
Would he make that team in future? Earth 11.
I don't know. We'll see, won't we? I mean, he's still only 22, so he's got a lot of learning.
I hope we don't see. I hope we never have to see that. I really hope that's the opposite.
And we've literally got to have a game where Sterling's our only hope for the planet Earth.
Come on, please win, Sterling.
This is a statement that I made, because we're talking about Sterling being young at 22. I said 8 years from now, England can win the World Cup simply based on, one, people like Sterling being fairly young right now, and the amount of talent that we have in European leagues now, which hasn't happened before, really and truly.
Have you heard this, chump? 8 years from now, there's a World Cup this summer, mate.
I'm trying to keep it real.
Mate, no keeping it real. I'm wearing this until the tournament starts. We're going to win this summer.
So which young English talent are you really excited to see develop in the future? Obviously, Sterling's one of them, but...
Yeah, I mean, it pains me to admit it a little bit as a City fan, but I think Marcus Rashford is going to be a fantastic player for years to come as well. And Dele Alli's another one I rate highly. He's having a very good season at the moment, but he's a fantastic player. Harry Winks at Spurs is another one that looks like he could be a potential world beater. So they have got a good core of young players coming through England. I think this World Cup will be a little bit too soon for them. Yeah, you know, 8 years from now, who knows what might happen.
8 years from now, lads.
You're super optimistic and I'm realistic. Hopefully you'll be right, because then we can be celebrating together.
I'm one of those England fans that actually cries into his pint every time we get knocked out by some team you've never heard of.
Iceland or...
Yeah, I believe, mate. I believe.
So then, okay, as a City fan, who do you fear in the Champions League? Like, who do you think, I hope we don't meet them before the final? Or who do you think is going to stop you from winning it anyway?
I mean, I would look at Barcelona as sort of City's peer in Europe this season. I think they're the team that are on City's level, and PSG possibly. I mean, PSG, I don't think I'm wholly convinced by them as an entire squad of players. They've got some very good players, Neymar obviously, Mbappe, Cavani, players like that, but they've got a few weaknesses for PSG, so I think it could be a little bit too early for them. I mean, what worries me a little bit about City in the Champions League is that game they had against Liverpool a few weeks ago when they lost 4-3. It was sort of a reminder that City can be quite vulnerable. They had a really bad day that day, and you know, Champions League football is knockout stuff, isn't it? So
yeah, and teams like PSG and Barcelona aren't going to sit back like a lot of the Premier League clubs this season. They're going to go for the throat, whether it's in Manchester or whether it's, you know, at their own gaff. So I think, I think that exactly what you said. These teams that aren't afraid to go for it. Teams like Real Madrid are sort of happy to sit on the back foot and hit you on the counter, but Barcelona are going to go for the throat. So it's going to be great to actually, these English clubs in Europe, I want them to do well. So I'll be hoping that Manchester City can sort of repeat that form. But it would be good to see them tested, right? Properly tested.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you think we'll get Basel in the next round, so then there's going to be a lot of good teams left in the tournament there, and we'll see how it goes. But I would, if I had to predict, I would say maybe a semi-final place for City this season. Don't think they'll go further than that. But,
So then, in terms of Pep, when he was at Bayern Munich, they kind of started to struggle because of a burnout. You're fighting for 4 titles now. Do you think you have the squad to maintain that chase? And which one of the cups you think you're actually not going to get in the end?
I would say the Champions League, as I just mentioned, and possibly the FA Cup. I could see City certainly winning the league this season. I think I know you're an Arsenal fan, Antoine, but I think they might have enough to beat Arsenal in the final of the Carabao Cup there.
You struggled in the semi-final last year. Of course, then.
I haven't got a dog in this fight, so I'm going to pipe down.
I had to throw it in there. Obviously, Arsenal are terrible now.
If I had to pick a team, though, I wouldn't be backing Arsenal right now.
Still holding.
Yeah.
But this is a question I wanted to know. The summer coming up with the transfer window open, you've pretty much bought in most positions that you wanted. Obviously, Mendy's injured, but where do you still think you need to add a little bit of quality?
I think they need a centre midfielder, a quality holding midfielder, because Fernandinho has been brilliant this season, but he's not getting any younger.
But Fabian Delph will just move straight in there once Mendy's back, so I don't think you need anyone.
Exactly.
He could do, yeah.
He's buzzing for that. He can't wait for Mendy to get back. Fabian Delph. He's really excited. Yeah.
They've been talking about Julian Weigl from Dortmund as a possible target. I think he'd be a really good buy.
And I saw there was talk of Fred as well, maybe going to Manchester City, the fight between you and United for his signature.
United are just getting on a tug of war of anyone that City are interested now. Oh no, we'll have him. Who cares? We'll have him. City could just play a trick on him and just pick some random bloke from the middle of nowhere and just say, yeah, we've got our eye on him, and United will snap him up.
Edmund Cambridge. That started that rumour.
There's a few rumours going around that he's not a bad player.
Yeah, okay.
I started him. So
then just quickly, as a City fan, one of the our little followers asked, who do you think will be the next team to beat you in the league? Like, who do you think, they've kind of got our number?
Well, I'm watching Spurs play United tonight. They've been very good so far, so I would feel it. There could be someone completely random like Bournemouth. Bournemouth are 3-0 up at Chelsea tonight. I don't know if you're aware.
Chelsea have been absolutely embarrassed, haven't they? They lost 3-0.
Yeah.
So just quickly, any other transfers you heard, rumours going around, or do you think the window's kind of quiet and right down now?
I think it's probably quite right down. I heard some murmurings about Isco, potentially Chelsea or Liverpool making a move for him.
Now that would be some signing. He's a baller, mate. I love Isco.
Yeah, I don't think he's sort of fallen out of favour around the season, so he'd be a very good signing for someone. But what, hour and a half to go until the window closes? I can't see.
You've got to fly him over, give him a medical, get the paperwork sorted.
A medical is where you just tap someone's knee and their knee moves. You're like, okay.
His knee moves, he must be good, yeah.
Sign him up.
His knee's not moving, but screw it, get him in.
That'll do nicely. Just a quick trivia question. Who do you think has been the worst January transfer signing ever?
Ever.
I said it was Andy Carroll earlier, the £35 million.
Andy Carroll. Matt Froelich said Fernando Torres. I said Kim Källström, and Arsenal signed him and he had a broken back.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That thing, they should have done that thing on his knee, on his back instead.
If he just flicks up like a little dog.
Yeah. Oh, his back's at it. Nah.
So in terms of this, go on.
City signed Benjani on transfer deadline day a few years ago, and he nearly didn't end up signing because he fell asleep at the airport.
Oh my god!
That is the classic transfer deadline story we were waiting for.
Not the brightest bulb.
But Dan will definitely come back to you later on. Hopefully, you have some crazy story through, but. If you can give us a quick update of the West Brom score.
Yeah, so it's 2-0 to City.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
It was, I've forgotten now, Kevin De Bruyne and Fernandinho scored the first one, yeah.
Quick question, in terms of the Ballon d'Or, do you think Kevin De Bruyne is going to be up there when Ronaldo or Messi just stop taking the award?
Yeah, he should. I hope so. I think he'll probably scoop a few Premier League awards this season. So we should definitely be running for it next year. I don't think Ronaldo's having a great time of it, is he? So,
no, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it could be between him and Messi. Yeah, who knows?
Well, we'll come back to you later on, and thanks for joining us today, Dan. It's been a great chat.
Cheers, nice one.
So, yeah, we just had Dan Burke on the line. He's one of the amazing journalists here at Onefootball. Once again, if you haven't already, download that Onefootball app and click that subscribe button. Me and Ed are here pretty much every Thursday. We've got good banter. He's got good look. Good knowledge, so make sure you keep joining us. We're going to be throwing back to all the people you've seen already to make sure we keep giving you those breaking transfer news. But just give you a quick update. Obviously, Aubameyang's gone to Arsenal, Giroud's gone to Chelsea, Batshuayi's gone to Dortmund, Lucas Moura gone to Spurs, and there's been loads of loan deals. Fun fact, I'll quickly ask you, Ed, how many people do you think have actually left Arsenal, whether sold or loaned?
Oh, what, in this window?
In this window.
3?
13. 13 people.
Bloody hell.
Arsenal. Lots of loan players, lots of youngsters have gone out on loan.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got rid of some key players as well. So, how many people do you think have left Manchester United?
Well, must be fewer than that. 10.
3. So you should have gone with your first answer. And then, how many people do you think have left Man City?
1.
6.
I'm not very good at this game.
Well, we're going to end the game right there. But yeah, there's lots of players you don't hear of. Not a big name, just some youngsters who go and come. But like we said, there's some exciting English talent in Europe right now. So throughout the years, we'll be following them. Maybe Ed will get a beard by that point. But either way, we're going to be coming back to you with one of our amazing features. We actually have a cool feature that's coming up where we've got Max who's going to talk to you about what the hell is going on at Real Madrid. So we'll be back soon.
Real have real problems. It's not just a blip, it's not even a mini crisis anymore. Currently they're 4th in the league, an incredible 19 points behind Barcelona. It's their worst league start since 2008, and it could be the first time in 15 years that they finish outside the top 3. Now last week they were knocked out of the cup by mid-table Leganes, and they faced PSG in the Champions League. It's not looking good. The classic fire the coach tactic isn't going to cut it this time. Their issues run deep into an aging squad, and they're running the risk of being left behind. Let's tackle 3 questions. How did it come to this? Who's going to be the new generation of Galacticos? And can they steady the ship, or will they be sunk by their new stadium? It started with a summer of sadness. Missed targets and silly sales meant that Real Madrid well and truly tanked in the transfer market. While PSG laid down some Galactico sums to snap up Neymar and Kylian Mbappe, Real signed just 2 players, left-back Theo Hernandez and midfielder Dani Ceballos, squad players at best. To make matters worse, they depleted their squad by getting rid of experienced players like Danilo, James Rodriguez, Fabio Coentrao and Pepe. This season, Zidane has not trusted his squad. He's basically concentrated on 13 players, and the young guns on the bench are barely getting minutes compared to last season. But the biggest mistake, in my opinion, was selling Alvaro Morata. He wasn't first choice last season, but chipped in with 20 goals from the bench, and this season, Real just can't score. They haven't scored so little at this stage for over 10 years. Gareth Bale has missed 17 games through injury. Karim Benzema has just 2 league goals. Morata has got 10 so far for Chelsea, and the youth product could have become Benzema's successor, and at 62 million euros, there aren't many cheaper alternatives out there. A silly sale. And what makes things worse is that Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't been able to save Real Madrid this season. Ronaldo's unprecedented drop in form might be explained by the arrival of 3 babies to his household. He's done well in the cup competitions, but in the league, his scoring record is 1 goal every 2 games, so while that's decent, it's not regular Ronnie. 8 goals in 16 games doesn't exactly scream Ballon d'Or. So maybe this season is just a write-off. Perhaps Perez was lining his pockets for a big summer spending spree in 2018. So let's take a look at who could be the next generation of Galacticos. Eden Hazard has been on Real's shopping list for some time now, and this deal could happen. Chelsea wouldn't be keen to sell, but at the age of 27, Hazard will probably be pondering his next big contract and is playing in his prime. He won't be winning the Champions League at Chelsea, and Paris Saint-Germain are unlikely to table a bid. Barca have already bulked up on wingers, so the only super club outside England that's left is Real. In recent weeks, there have even been rumours of Ronaldo heading the other way in a sort of swap deal. While that sounds outlandish, I'd say if Eden is keen, Real can get a deal done. They also might give good old Daniel Levy a call about his 2 prized assets, Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Now, it's unlikely both of these players will move, but the rumours just aren't going away. Dele Alli could slot into Madrid's midfield 3 as a younger, more dynamic alternative to Kroos and Modric. His recent dip of form may not decrease his price, but he could push for a move if Levy plays hardball. Harry Kane, on the other hand, is unlikely to resort to any antagonising methods in order to push through a move. The Spurs youth product loves life in North London, which leaves Real with just one option: up the offer until Levy gets weak. The fee here might be ridiculous. Kane is also much more likely to join them if Mauricio Pochettino takes over as Real manager. He's been heavily linked with the job in recent weeks, and he hasn't exactly denied that he'd like to take over the job someday. But can Real and Perez really turn things around? Sacking the coach is the go-to option for Perez, but after back-to-back Champions League wins from Zidane, is there anyone better? Mopo is inexperienced when it comes to playing for titles, and there's even been talk of a sensational Carlo Ancelotti return, but neither seem a massive upgrade on Zizou. What's really going to be vital is the transfer war chest this coming summer. Perez is ready to play, but can he pay? With PSG taking liberties and Chelsea so scared of financial fair play that they're looking to sign Peter Crouch, Madrid have a huge advantage over Europe's biggest clubs as they actually made a profit in last summer's transfer window. 124 million euros were brought in by sales and just 46 million spent. That's a decent profit of 77 million. Plus, they made some big cuts to the wage bill. So it looks like they could muster a real Real rampage. But they just missed out on a 400 million euro sponsorship deal. Last week, they were granted license to begin redevelopment work on their stadium, including covering the ground with a state-of-the-art retractable roof. A 400 million euro sponsorship deal for the naming rights of the stadium were meant to cover those costs, but that fell through just as the planning was given the green light. Ouch. That'll put a hole in the transfer war chest. Now they may even have to sell more players to fund the revamp. Considering their current form and wage demands, there aren't many takers for Real's biggest cash assets, Bale and Ronaldo. And every club knows how badly Real need big players, so the prices will go up. So next summer's success hinges on three things for me: signing Eden Hazard, reanimating Ronaldo, and just spending PSG-level Galactico sums. What do you think they should do to stop the rot setting in? Sack Zidane, or will they just beat PSG and prove all the doubters wrong?
Hello?
Let us know in the comments.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Deadline Day Live. We're literally going to be breaking all the breaking Deadline Day news. A lot of them already been done, but right now Tottenham have probably beaten Man United. We have Mr. Matt Froelich, who looks very happy with his little
I am
doubly
indeed.
beard. What was the score, Matt?
2-0.
Oh God!
You trying to work that out? Like
How's that episode of Friends going on?
Yeah.
Is it good? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a really funny one.
Can you give us a quick summary of the game for people who haven't watched it? Quickly, how did you beat Man U?
I mean, we controlled the game, but it really was over with the first goal. I mean, the first goal and then the own goal completely knocked stuffing out of them, and they haven't really...
So how long did it take you to score that first goal?
11 seconds.
11
What
seconds.
a sucker punch.
Did it
And
only took 11
Mourinho would have drilled that team all week, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Phil Jones beaten in the air, Harry Kane, bang, Christian Eriksen runs in and gets a rebound from an alley shot.
I've been praying for a third to make it comfortable, but, I mean, to be honest, United have never really threatened, so it's...
So then quickly just run us through that second goal. How did that happen?
I mean, it was actually a pretty good Spurs move. They worked it out wide to Trippier, who's ball in, and it's just Jones at the front post got his feet in a mess. Is the inside of his foot facing inward, and it's actually a really good finish if you see it.
Trippier is just so good at putting the ball into that corridor of uncertainty that Jones just thought, this ball's too good. I have to get myself on the end of it. I have to finish this. I don't give a damn which goal I'm shooting in. What a ball! Bang!
Yeah,
Big Phil Jones.
It was a great finish, but I think, Trippier, it's all in the ball. I mean, whoever touches it, it's going in.
Then when you're looking at this team now, what are your hopes for it? Obviously, you just beat Man United, who for some people would say is the second best team in the league. Where does that now make Spurs?
Well, it's not as good as Newport, though. Let's not forget that.
Not as good as Newport. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think it's kind of strange that there's so many teams fighting for three positions, rather than going for the title. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone's going for second, third and fourth. I think in terms of a match day, City have won, granted, but United have obviously lost, beaten them. Arsenal lost last night and Chelsea have lost at home to Bournemouth. So for us, it's gone pretty well, but I don't think there's anything to get too excited about. It's promising. It's promising.
So when you're coming up to that game against Juventus in the Champions League, what do you think your chances are going to be?
I mean, it's different European competition.
It's exciting, that one, isn't it? It's going to be a lot of fun.
Over the tie, I'd be pretty confident.
You did not sound pretty confident, I'll tell you that for free. The pause, the delay, the facial expressions, it was literally the definition of not confident. Why should Spurs fans be confident against Juventus? What do you think you can offer the game?
I think we have something that is quite... we have a kind of... It's not a fits-all system at Tottenham, but it's one that can be adapted sort of everywhere. You know, with the European competition, with the FA Cup, whether this, that, whichever players they're in. I think we're doing pretty good. It's not like, you know, there's a typical sort of Premier League way of playing football, which can get really undone in Europe. I think we're quite diverse. We've got a good variety of the team, especially with players like Moura now as well.
We got a quick question from Freestyle Bros. He wants to know who is the best Spurs player, which I think will be an easy answer for you.
Kane. Although Vertonghen was unbelievable tonight.
Yeah. He grabbed your man in the match.
Yeah, Vertonghen does.
I like that he's telling us all this news lying on in a sort of seductive manner back on what looks like a bed.
Netflix and football.
Chill it out, mate.
Look at him. We're right up close to his face, and he's looking a little bit smug.
Is that the pose? I like
that. That is a good feeling. That we'll give you that. That smile's going to be on his face for another week until that replay against Newport.
Oh God, yeah.
So
we got Liverpool first.
You have. If you were Pochettino and you could sign anyone, who would you have signed? Not Ronaldo or Messi, so it doesn't get too ridiculous.
Yeah, not Ronaldo or Messi. Someone realistic.
Who could have been a game changer for Spurs?
I mean, I wasn't overly sure who we needed. I think we needed more squad depth than more someone to come and take a first team spot.
Do you think squad depth is what's going to get you the lead?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I just think that we in a few games, and that's why, again, I think Moura is a great signing. In a few games, we have looked like, especially in the last few games, Eriksen's been injured. The second he comes out and someone like Sissoko comes in, we are a completely different team purely because Sissoko's not as good as Eriksen.
And especially with the way Spurs play, with this hard running, sort of pressing, you know, everyone in that Spurs team is a real athlete, and Pochettino just doesn't have the quality to rotate them the way that they need, which is a shame because I think in terms of a first 11, defence and attack and everything, Spurs really are the second best team in the country, I think.
Yeah, but that's the issue. It's the first team. It's not the whole squad. And I think that can let us down sometimes when, you know, even the players that have got to play every game and that we can't really change without losing something significant from the team. That any time someone like Vertonghen, Dembele, Ali, Eric, Kane, Lloris steps out of the team, we're considerably worse. Which sounds harsh to the rest of the squad players, but it's true.
But it's also going to be a bit like a new signing, I guess, as well when Alderweireld comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's back in training, so hopefully he'll be back soon because, again, he's a phenomenal defender. However, Vertonghen and Sanchez have been fantastic, so I don't... That's probably the one position where we do have quite a good cover, and, you know, if Dyer drops back in there, it's good flexibility. But I think going forward, I mean, we all know what would happen if Kane got injured.
But then can you get that kind of depth? Because obviously, like you said, Kane's the truth, basically. But how can you really look to not replace him, but have depth for him? Because someone of his quality is not going to sit on the bench. Obviously, you've got Lucas Moura now, but most strikers who are Kane's level are looking for first team. So
yeah, I think that's the issue when it comes to someone like. I think Llorente is in a perfect position because he's a proven good player, right? He's not incredibly old. He's 32, I think. He's relatively cheap at 15 million, and he knows he's going to play second fiddle. But having that specific criteria doesn't really apply to many players. So it is difficult to find someone who you've got to say to them in the contract talks, yeah, this money, this length, blah, 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 blah. You know you're number two. But I mean, that's exactly what happened with Neymar at Messi at Barcelona. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't be number one ahead of Messi, so he ended up leaving.
Well, it's a little bit like Sandro Wagner's move to Bayern Munich recently, where they literally gave him the number two. He's a centre forward. He wasn't going to get ahead of Lewandowski, and they gave him the number 2 shirt. It's just...
Wow, I'm sure that was to insult him, but maybe he asked for it.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Just quickly, Matt, in terms of you just watched the game, how does Sanchez look for our Man United listeners, or even Arsenal fans? Did he look...
He had a pretty poor game. But no, he had a poor game, but I think no one at United covered themselves in glory. They were all pretty poor, so I don't think I'm not sort of bagging on Sanchez. I think they were all pretty poor.
I assume he was booed routinely, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he got a real good kick from quite a few players, including Ali, who then got booked and then taken off.
I don't think Sanchez is the sort of bloke I'd fancy giving a kick.
No, exactly, especially from Dele Alli. Like.
Yeah, or Dele Alli seems... Dele Alli's like one of them yappy dogs.
The thing is, I wouldn't want to fire Sanchez up, because I think he'd be even better.
But the thing with Sanchez, he has a propensity to over-dribble. I think if you fired him up, he'd be over-dribbling like a beast, which might work to your advantage.
Yeah, true. I mean, look, he's one of these guys where whatever happens during the game, he could one drop of the shoulder, and suddenly the pass or the finish is there. So he's a game winner. That's the thing you've got to be wary of. Match winner.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining us. We might come back to you later on, but we'll see you again on Monday for the 1-2, obviously.
Yes, no worries.
No, you didn't do it. Either way, we're going to make you back. So, yeah, it's been a great little chat with Matt Froelich. Obviously, just so you know, if you just joined us right now, Tottenham beat Manchester United. Sanchez, the new signing there, didn't do anything. Thank you. I'm an Arsenal fan. We've also been talking throughout the day. We spoke to Dan Burke, who's a City fan. He talked us through what they can expect. Laporte's been signed there. Obviously, they didn't get Riyad Mahrez. They didn't get Sanchez. So it's a situation there where City will probably still win the league and maybe win the FA Cup and probably win the Carabao Cup. But that Champions League is going to be a little bit more difficult for them. But we're going to be going back to another journalist in the newsroom and talk to you a little bit more about the done deal / maybe some last minute things. Yep, we've got Alex on your screen. First up, Alex, is there any transfers that might go through in the next hour?
We've actually just heard something. Islam Slimani is in Newcastle and is just having his medical.
So Benitez is finally getting a centre forward that isn't Joselu.
Finally getting a striker in, which he's been begging all window for. It's time now. We've got about an hour left. So yeah, hopefully that'll get done before the.
I really hope they get that one over the line because you probably agree, you guys. I mean, he's just a fantastic manager, Benitez. He's had such a great career, and what he's done for Newcastle has been brilliant. He got them straight back up to the Premier League, and then just got handed basically zilch to buy strikers with, and he's still doing okay with a very championship level Newcastle team. And okay, I don't think Slimani's going to be a 30-goal-a-year striker, but he is an actual striker who has scored some Premier League goals in the past. So it's just like a nice little gift he can actually do something with.
It all kind of went pear-shaped when the deal didn't go to buy the whole club. I think Benitez was kind of waiting for that to happen, and then it didn't get happen. So what can Newcastle fans expect from Slimani?
I think he's a really good striker. I thought it was a great. I thought Leicester made a great signing when he joined. What was it, in the summer this time last year from Sporting Lisbon? He was brilliant in Portugal, but for whatever reason, it hasn't really worked out for him. Jamie Vardy is difficult to replace in that starting 11. So but when he's had a chance, he's normally taken it.
He has scored plenty of goals, yeah. And I was actually saying earlier as well. I mean, replacing Jamie Vardy is obviously the issue. He's the guy whose goals powered Leicester to the league. And he still does the business now, okay? He's not quite hitting the same levels as he was the year that they won it, but he's still been solid every week, Jamie Vardy. And it's not just the goals with him, it's the aggression and everything. So it's a good move for Slimani. I think everyone benefits there. And I really hope he does well, because Newcastle are traditionally a big club. And this sort of signing might be able to help them out big time.
So then just quickly, again, what happened with Riyad Mahrez? There was so much talk of him going to City. Why did it crumble in the end, or is it back on?
It's definitely not back on, no. So what we were hearing in the newsroom was City made 4 separate bids. The highest of those was just over 60 million. And Leicester turned them down. They value him at 95 million pounds.
I love the way you started to laugh when you even said it.
No, Mahrez is a brilliant player, but is he worth 95 million pounds? No, I don't think he is. But fair play to Leicester. He's one of their, but he probably is their best player, and they weren't going to be bullied by Man City. So fair play to him. What I would say is, how is Mahrez going to react now?
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask.
Because he handed in a transfer request as well, and he was really keen to go. He's been keen to go before, and this was just, he must have just been thinking, yes, City have got all the money in the world, they want me, here's my transfer request. And then when he first heard about what they were asking,
Riyad Mahrez thought, I'm not worth 95.
he just knew the wheels. Yeah, he must have known the wheels were coming off that.
No, he obviously wanted his move in the summer, didn't get it. No, he wanted to move this time, didn't get it. If he's going to sulk for the rest of the season, maybe it would have been better if they'd have cashed in. But I can't see.
What do you think the Leicester fans' reactions are going to be to him when he runs out in those glucose now?
Well, he joined them for 400 grand. He was one of their best players when they won the league. I'm sure they would understand if, they cashed in and got 65, 70 million. I'm sure they wouldn't give him a bad reception at all.
If you were Leicester, would you have taken that 60 million, or do you think they did the right thing holding out for ridiculous money?
I think I probably would have cashed it. I think he's asked for a move so many times. I would have cashed in, I think. He has been.
I'm not sure I would. I'd take the opposite stance. Maybe I would in the summer, but I don't think on transfer deadline day I'd have taken 60 million quid.
Why would you not done that?
Because it's just because it's halfway through a season. And I do think in the current market, £60 million, whilst it is a lot of money, I mean, he was the guy that was the superstar of the Premier League 2 years ago when Leicester won the league. He's got all the tricks in the book. He's a really great player. In the summer, maybe somewhere around a little higher than 60.
Why are you differentiating now to the summer? Because Leicester aren't
because of timing. No, they're not struggling, but a lot of what they do goes through him. And I think to lose him now with no possibility of buying a replacement would just... I mean, they can just say no and probably still get a similar bid in the summer. And
But like I said earlier on, how is Mahrez going to react?
Yeah, this is the key. I mean, 2020 vision in hindsight.
Yeah, of course.
We're gonna find out if it was a good idea or if it was a terrible idea.
So then if we were just to run down the top 6 sides in terms of the business they've done. First up, Tottenham. Do you think they've done enough business?
I don't know. I think they're looking light. They bought Lucas Moura, which is a relatively good signing, but I don't think he's improving them. They look light in the centre of midfield to me, and at the back. If they get an injury to Vertonghen or Alderweireld again, I mean, they've had a great performance tonight, but when it comes to the business end of the season, a lot of games racking up. Are they going to be deep enough? I don't think they are. No.
And then if we move on to Liverpool, since they sold Coutinho obviously for ridiculous money, do you think they've used that money wisely or they didn't?
It's hard to use a lot of money wisely, isn't it? When everyone knows you've got it, that's the problem.
It's what can you say about Liverpool, really? Van Dijk was a lot of money at 75 million, but it's all relative. I thought that he would hit the ground running. He hasn't. When you look at their last few performances since Man City, I don't know. It's difficult to say, really. They're so good going forward, but they're so bad at the back. I can't really see them improving that much.
They are a calamity at the back. It's not even comparable with their play going forward. It's hilarious.
I think that's the biggest thing for me. They've decided on Karius. He is better than Mignolet, but I don't think he's good enough for he's not a top 4 keeper. So they desperately need a goalkeeper for me. Probably need another centre back because I don't think Matip's good enough or Lovren. I'll say Chamberlain was a good signing, but they're just they're too inconsistent.
And then on to Manchester United. Obviously, they signed Sanchez. In terms of the business, who do you think what business they've done, good or bad?
Sanchez was one of those where they probably didn't need him, but he was available for a relatively cheap price. Getting rid of Mkhitaryan, I think they came out best in that deal. Sanchez is obviously a world-class player, but you look at their results tonight. You look at their results over the past few weeks. I don't know what they are really under Mourinho. I think they're just a very sort of average side. I think.
Even with the players that got their average, that's a statement to make. Lukaku, Rashford, Sanchez, Pogba.
Yeah, again, you say all those names, but what are they actually doing, really? Maybe in comparison to City, yeah, that they're because City are doing so well, it's difficult for them. But
yeah, I have to agree. Actually, I think Mourinho's old teams were never about these individual superstar players. When he had the success with Chelsea when he first came over, okay, they were great players, but it was like the team, the squad. There was an idea and a desire, and even players like Duff and a young Robin. He was getting them all just to sing off the same hymn sheet, and they were brilliant. But this Man United side just seems like a collection of random individuals, all talented, albeit, but they're not the team that Mourinho you would associate with Mourinho. They're not really brilliant at going forward. They're not particularly phenomenal at the back, as we saw tonight. It's a bit weird, right?
They're making these Galactico signings like Real Madrid used to do back in the early 2000s. That didn't go well for Real Madrid, and I can't really see it doing well for Man United, to be honest. Like you say, for me, they're just a collection of individuals, and yeah, they're just.
And
I don't
just quickly on to Man City. I know we already kind of touched on them just briefly. Do you think they've done good business?
Yeah, Laporte is a brilliant signing. He's been fantastic for Athletic Bilbao. Company's been, I think he's on his way out. So to replace him, I know he's 57 million, Laporte, but he's he's 23. He's a brilliant young centre back. Yeah, great signing, great signing.
And then finally, Arsenal, in terms of their business, like I just worked out that 13 players actually left Arsenal. Obviously, some of them went out on loan. But in terms of people coming in, we had Mkhitaryan, we've had Aubameyang now. So how good a window has it been for them?
I think if you'd have asked me that this time last week, I'd have said awful. But now with Aubameyang coming in, Mkhitaryan, Ozil staying, yeah, they're looking really good. Yeah, I like them a lot. But it doesn't matter who they bring in. I think with Wenger as manager, they're always going to have the same issues. So,
do you think they need a change of?
There's one signing they really need to make.
Yeah.
If Wenger was to get sacked or was to leave, who do you think would be the best replacement?
You've thrown that on me. I would probably go Thomas Tuchel.
I was going to say Harry Redknapp, but I'm quite pleased that a better name's been thrown out there. We thought of another manager before I was forced to say something daft there.
Yeah, I would go. The manager's available, Thomas Tuchel, right now. Or maybe Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, we've been talking about Carlo Ancelotti. Then also on that managerial merry-go-round, with Real Madrid playing so poorly, do you think Pochettino is going to say, you know what, I've taken Spurs as far as I can. Is it time for me to go to Madrid and manage some quality players and have a bit of money to splash?
He was manager of Espanyol, so he's not going to go to Barcelona. There's not many clubs, Tottenham was sort of on that second level, but on the top level, there's not that many clubs that are going to have their managers, out of work in the summer. Real Madrid seems like the obvious one to me. I know he hasn't exactly rejected their advances or said outright that he doesn't want to go there. So maybe in the summer, who knows? I guess it depends how Spurs do this season. But yeah, I could definitely see that happening in the future.
And then talking about managers that might leave, if we move on to Chelsea, how good do you think their business has been this January?
Okay, very okay. They're sort of a different Chelsea these days, aren't they? They're not the big spenders like they used to be. Giroud's a good sign-in, and compared to the names that they were looking at earlier on in the window, I think he was the best option available. Yeah, Crouch, Andy Carroll.
Oh, but that would have been fun, wouldn't it? Why didn't that happen?
That's in the blue shirt.
Yeah, it's so disappointing that didn't happen. It would have been great.
It would have been fun, but of those names,
how many goals do you think Crouch would have bagged Chelsea before the end of the season?
I reckon a good solid 4.
I reckon he would have got 6 or 7, yeah. At least.
Oh, God, big Crouch fan here.
But no, yeah, Giroud was a brilliant signing for them, I think. But they're just. I think Conte's going to leave at the end of the year. He's had enough.
Where do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to go become the Italian manager? Let's talk of that.
Quite possibly. AC Milan, maybe, if Rino Gattuso leaves at the end of the summer. I know his family are back in Italy, so yeah.
He's already making movements.
Yeah, I think possibly back to Italy for him at the end of the year.
So yes, finally, as we're approaching the deadline, is there anything you think's going to sneak through? Any surprises that people can be staying up for?
Yeah, the only one that we know of at the moment is Islam Samani to Newcastle. So I don't think any of the top clubs will be making signings between now and the end of the window. But yeah, Slimani to Newcastle is the one that we're looking at.
If you had the ear of any of these top sides and you had to give them a piece of advice, which team would you call and which player would you tell them to buy?
I would ring Arsene Wenger and tell him to sign a centre half.
Who would you choose?
I would say Johnny Evans. I don't know why they haven't gone big on him, really. I think I was surprised when he left Man United all those years ago. I was even more surprised when he just went to West Brom. I think he's brilliant. Outside the top six, I don't think there's many centre-halves better in the Premier League. So,
in terms of money, what offer did they talk about? I heard it was like 12 million?
Yeah, 12 million was what we heard from our sources. So, I mean,
when you compare that to Van Dijk,
yeah,
is
exactly.
Van Dijk that much of a better player than Johnny Evans, in your opinion?
I think Johnny Evans is only just 30. So, I mean, if you were to bid over 20 million for him, for a club like Arsenal, that's nothing. So I don't know why they haven't done that really. But yeah, that's the signing that I think they should make. Whether they will or not, I don't think they will.
Well, thanks for joining us, Alex. Any breaking news, let us know, and we'll try and throw back to you as quick as we can.
Cheers, guys.
Anyone
Thanks a lot.
who's just literally joined us, make sure you click that subscribe button. If you're coming from the app or not from the app, make sure you download it. We've had an amazing transfer deadline day, but we're not finished yet. We've already spoken to Dan Burke, our Man City correspondent in the Onefootball journalist room. We've spoken to Matt, who's happy celebrating Tottenham's win over Manchester United.
Big win for Spurs tonight.
Very big win, especially with them signing Sanchez. People thought that Man U would start whipping teams, and it turns out they're there to be whipped themselves. And we'll be talking about Arsenal, Aubameyang, how Aubameyang is going to fit. And actually, I'm going to throw to Ed now to talk about that. How do you think that Aubameyang is going to fit in Arsenal? Who would be your starting lineup as well?
Well, I think a lot depends on how Aubameyang sees this move. If it's just a way of getting out of Dortmund, if he's going to leave those troubles behind him, start fresh, realise that this isn't the same sort of club where he's going to be the big dog automatically, you know. Some of his behaviour at Borussia Dortmund was a bit odd. He was not turning up to meetings and things like that. He was doing strange things in the training complex and really sort of pissing off the guys that own the club. So I think he's got to just draw a line under that, turn up to the Premier League. This is like the biggest stage he's played on so far, and prove to everyone what a brilliant striker he is. Because on the field, there's no question. Now, if Arsenal play with a back three, they can have two strikers. I think everybody wants to see, at least once, Lacazette and Aubameyang just released on a team like Watford or something, and just see if they can deal with the sort of pace and talent. Obviously, Ozil signing his new contract is massive news for Arsenal.
$50,000 a week.
Yeah, but you know, if they want to pay it, he's earned it. It's as simple as that. And there's enough money flying around. I think with Ozil, you know, being the guy with the supply line to a front line with Lacazette, who we can see now, and also obviously Aubameyang, it could be terrifying. So I think it's a great signing.
Quick backtrack, in terms of their loss against Swansea, how does that propel Swansea forward? Do you think they can find a way to sneak out of the relegation battle, or they're done and dusted?
Well, I don't think Swansea are going to make their way out of the dustbin down there at the bottom of the table. They've just made too many awful signings. People like Boya, Baston. They've spent 30 million on absolute crap over the last few years. And they've just signed Andre Ayew back from West Ham for £20 million, which I know when there's £222 million players going around like Neymar, 20 million doesn't sound like much, but it is daft to spend that much money on transfer deadline day. They're really just hitting and hoping there. They're going to need some miracle to save them, I think. So,
yeah,
sorry,
I think
Swansea
it's
fans.
one of those ones where
I used to always love Swansea too. You know, they played some really lovely football.
They used to be Arsenal's form, basically. He always comes to Emirates.
They were a real
give
surprise
us a good game, beat us a lot.
Pass the ball around.
But then we're going to throw back to Dan Burke in our Onefootball studio. He's going to talk to us some more about Man City and generally about the Premiership. We were just talking about Swansea. Do you think their recent signing on the deadline day and their recent wins over Liverpool and Arsenal can push them at least with a hope of leaving the relegation, or do you think they're done and dusted already?
I mean, I thought they were dead and buried, Swansea, really, and especially when they got Carvajal in. I mean, it seemed like one of those Premier League appointments that we've seen a few of this season where they seem to sack a manager and then hire an even worse one. But he's done really well so far. I mean, they beat Arsenal, they beat Liverpool. So you never know with that one, really. I mean, I'm not convinced that Andre Ayew is going to be the signing to sort of drag them out of the relegation.
Me neither, yeah.
Yeah, they're looking all right, aren't they? So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a really interesting relegation battle this season. I think there's about 9 teams that could potentially get second. So, yeah.
If you had to put a bet on which 3 teams you think are going to get relegated, Swansea being one of them, but
yeah, I would still say Swansea. I would say fancy Stoke to go down still as well, and Bournemouth. Even though they won't, I fancy Bournemouth might end up dropping this season.
We've been talking about that managerial merry-go-round that might happen at the end of this season. If, say, Wenger doesn't get top 4, we lose in the Carabao Cup, who do you think is going to be the most likely replacement for Wenger if he decides, actually, let me just call it a day?
It wouldn't surprise me if it was the fella who was before, but who left the season. He's had a long term finish. So that's what. Luis Enrique ended up to Chelsea in the summer, and we're assuming Conte will probably leave. I wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal went for him as well. But I would say probably doing.
Yeah, I agree with Thomas Tuchel. He's a bit of a fiery type. His exit from Dortmund probably wasn't the cleanest it could have been, but he was pretty successful there. You know, he took Dortmund. They won the DFB Pokal, the German Cup. And I think going for someone like that rather than an old head like Ancelotti, I think if Wenger goes, it should be like really out with the old and in with the new. Get like a young, dynamic coach, someone like Tuchel with the rest of his career ahead of him, rather than another short-term guy like Ancelotti.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Would you say it's a situation at Arsenal? Is it the managerial or is it the director side of the board? So do you think a new manager comes in, they're like, here's the money that we've been hoarding from Wenger, or is it simply a case where there actually isn't that much money? Wenger's been doing the best he could with poor product.
I mean, they haven't been spending an awful lot, have they? But they've paid off the stadium finally now, so that they've got no real excuse that that's sort of the monkey on the back anymore. I mean, I think Wenger should have gone a couple of years ago. I don't really understand why he's still there. I mean, you know, with great respect of what he's achieved in the past, I think the game's moved on a little bit past Arsene Wenger now, and they do need some fresh impetus. And you know, they've made some good signings this window. Arsenal, I think Aubameyang's a fantastic signing. Mkhitaryan's a good signing as well. Ozil's obviously signed a new contract today, which was a big surprise. So he'll be staying for a bit longer. So I think they do need a new manager to take them in the right direction, because you know we can bring all the players in the world, performing like they did against Swansea last night. They're going to struggle.
So then, in terms of Ozil signing that contract, how do you think Wenger's or any manager is going to be able to get Mkhitaryan, Lacazette, Aubameyang and Ozil all into the same team and just not get whooped by the likes of Swansea?
One at the back. It's the only way, innit? The old classic one at the back formation.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got a long way to go in terms of the players that they need to bring in. Arsenal, they need a new goalkeeper in the summer, one as well. You know, 1 or 2 new defenders, a new central midfielder. As you say, it's all well and good having all this attacking talent, but if you've got nothing to back it up, you're going to be problems for yourself. So I think there's definitely managers out there who will get the best out of those forward players they've got, but they definitely need to start investing some serious money if they're ever going to be considered Premier League title candidates again anytime soon.
In terms of money, how much do you think the increase in the TV rights is going to affect the Premiership? So obviously before it was like the Man Cities, the Man U's just had loads of money, but with more TV revenue coming in, do you think it's going to be more competitive?
I don't know really, because the problem is everybody's getting more money, so it basically just increases the baseline of what players are worth. I mean, there was a guy, West Ham tried to get a guy called Tom Kearney from Fulham, 27-year-old midfielder.
Fulham fan here.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good player. Apparently Fulham wanted 40 million for him.
Yeah, and 2 right and all. He's a captain. Bloody hell! I think that would have been cheap. No, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, a player is worth, as we always know, only what the selling club does. It's a similar situation with Mahrez going and the 95 million thing. You know, there's no time to get anyone else in. We're pushing for promotion. The last thing we bloody need is West Ham taking our best midfielder. He'd still go for plenty of money in the summer. So, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of these clubs can throw a bit of money around and stuff, but we didn't want to sell. We didn't need the cash, and it's, promotion is worth a lot more money than 25, 30 million for a midfielder.
The point I'm making is not necessarily that Fulham was sort of, being a bit cheeky with that, but that, players of that quality are now worth 40 million, aren't they? Like that, 40 million is like what 10 million was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Price for a player, because everybody's got so much money that it's just inflating and inflating and inflating. So even more money, I don't think is going to, change it in terms of competition.
Oh, okay.
Which means everybody's buying more players.
Yeah, but then even Arsenal only just broke their record, whereas Liverpool broke that for a defender. So it's a strange world we're living in. In terms of the actual record for most expensive player, which player do you think is going to be next to go beyond Neymar?
Tom Kearney, if we keep our cards close to our chest, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I thought sort of Mbappe would be the next £300 million player or whatever, and that's a possibility. I mean, if anyone wanted to try and sign Kevin De Bruyne from City, I think they'd probably have to end up paying something like that for City to even entertain the idea of it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Real Madrid or PSG start sniffing around him, and we were talking about those kind of figures in a couple of years' time.
Do you think there's ever going to be a player in the mould of a Messi or a Ronaldo who are value for money in terms of they've scored more goals in games they've even played in? Do you think those two are just out there, we're not going to see that happen again? Or is it a case of some people are young, like a Neymar's fairly young in comparison, maybe he'll get that level of prolific?
It's going to be a long time before we see players of their ilk again in world football, I think. I mean, I rate him very highly, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as those two. As you say, he might mature into a better player in years to come and get to that level. But I mean, Mbappe is another one that you don't want to put too much pressure on him as a young lad, but I could see him really be, the way he was performing last season at 18 years old. If he continues developing the right way, then he could be an absolute player for years to come. He's the one that I've got my eye on. And Dembele at Barca is another one who I think has got real potential to be a future star.
Oh, and just a quick update on that West Brom City game.
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
Who scored?
It was. I can't remember again. Who scored?
This is where we find out if you're actually a City fan. All this time you've been tricking your followers.
Aguero, it was, yeah.
Okay.
Nice goal.
And do you think Aguero's going to end up retiring at City, or are you going to sell him at one point?
I think he'll probably go in the summer, Aguero.
Do you? Oh, wow.
Guardiola get on particularly well. I don't think he's really a perfect sort of Guardiola player. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was moved on and they bought someone else. I think that was potentially why they were so keen to get Sanchez, because he was seen as perhaps the long-term replacement for Aguero.
Then if Aguero leaves, who would you like to replace him with? I know you've got Jesus Navas, Gabriel Jesus, but who would you replace?
I honestly don't know. I always put my eye on Aubameyang. Obviously, we're not going to get him anymore. I just thought he'd be a great signing for City. He wasn't that expensive at the end either, was he? €63 million, 60 million.
Peanuts.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like we said, 40 is the new 10.
Yes,
so
it's loose change these
20.
days. £63 million for the Gabonese striker, top man. But yeah, I've got to agree. I think he'd have been great at City, but that's the thing. If you don't get yourself in there quick, like obviously Manchester United did with Sanchez. The opportunity came up and they snapped him. These days, anyone, they've all got cash. Like we've just said about this, the smaller teams in the Premier League. You've got to beat the top teams, and then you're up against everyone else because they've all got cash.
Yeah.
And these players are mercenaries, really. They just want to go and earn cash and give the Premier League a crack. You're up against tough opposition.
Because obviously Conte/Chelsea came out and said they wouldn't sell in Hazard for whatever money you came with. So it's hard to find that
challenge accepted from Pep.
Yeah, exactly. He's 300 million.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to find that replacement for Aguero, because I think in world football, like we said, Ronaldo and the Messi, they're going to get to a point where they retire eventually. Not this season, but coming up. Then that next tier, most of them next tier players are already at the top sides already. So to find that new gem, it's hard to replace people. Is there anyone you think's coming up that you think might be the next Aguero or whoever?
What, do you mean in City's ranks or just
generally anyone who you got your eye on you think could be one for the future?
I think there is actually one in their rank. I think that Gabriel Jesus is the real deal. He's proved what a fantastic player he is. I don't think you know, like a lot of clubs when they lose a striker, Dortmund, for example, panicking to get Batshuayi through the door. If Aguero goes, okay, they're going to need a new backup. But Gabriel Jesus is the new sheriff, I reckon. He's what Pep likes, and he's ridiculously young and already proving that he's an amazing player.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned Hazard there. You know, Chelsea have sort of supposedly come out the last couple of days and said that they won't sell him for anything less than 300 million or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see what happened if they weren't to get in the Champions League this season, whether he would angle for a move and whether that would change things a little bit.
Well, it's a nice cliffhanger to end it on, Dan. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of the night. Obviously, if there's any crazy breaking news, we'll hopefully go back to you. But thanks for joining us. But yeah, in terms of everyone who's watching and joined in, we'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button. When we were talking about someone who's up and coming, actually, Leon Bailey looks like he is a baller, as Ed would say. And we have a great feature on him. So maybe he's one of those players that may break the transfer window next. So we're going to throw to that, and we'll see you soon.
The Premier League needs a Jamaican spark. Someone who'll bring pace, flair and character to the dreary British winter. There are 2 Jamaican options waiting for the top clubs in Germany. One real, one fake. Forget about the embarrassing talk of Usain Bolt's trial at Dortmund. He's fast, but in footballing terms, he's a fake. Leon Bailey is the real deal. We're going to tell you why the 20-year-old is the Bundesliga's Caribbean king, and why Chelsea should go all out to get him in the next 6 months before Arsenal or Bayern steal in. It all comes down to 3 things: Bailey's burgeoning talent, the burgeoning price tag that soared in the last 6 months, and how the growing interest makes his signing a matter of urgency. Leon Bailey had a slow start to life in the Bundesliga. After arriving at Leverkusen from Belgian side Genk for 11 million euros, he failed to notch a single goal or assist in the second half of last season. But this time out, it's a different story. He's already bagged 7 goals and set up another 5 in this campaign. But it's not just the numbers. Bailey really is the whole package as a forward. Leverkusen sporting director Rudi Völler has praised his pace and trickery in the past, and there's no doubt he has plenty of both. But this season he's pushed on, moulding his raw talent into a more complete form. His composure in the final third has improved as he's settled in the Bundesliga, and he's still only 20 years old, so you better believe there's a lot more to come on that front. But what's even more exciting is his ability to do the unexpected. His latest strike was the perfect example of what he can conjure up at his best. Receiving the ball in the middle of the Hoffenheim box with his back to goal, he shocked everyone by hammering a back heel into the bottom corner to put Leverkusen 1-0 up. It was a special play and confirmed his status as one of the league's top flair players. As his coach Heiko Herrlich said, everything's coming off for Bailey right now. So he's got the skill set to make him a hot property for some of Europe's biggest clubs. And of course that means the more he plays, the more his price tag goes up. Chelsea have supposedly already made 1 bid for the winger, but as the amount offered by the Blues was only a few million above the fee Leverkusen paid to sign Bailey in the first place, it's no surprise that the Werkself said no. The fact is, his value has already shot up. From the 11 million paid last winter, he's now valued at almost 30 on Transfermarkt. Remember that Bailey is still very young and that he's Leverkusen's second top scorer and assist provider this season. So he's got huge potential resale value and he's bloody important to his current club. That means Chelsea need to get serious if they want to sign the Jamaican. Then look at other transfer fees paid by Premier League sides for Bundesliga talent, like Arsenal with Granit Xhaka or Man United with Aymeric Mkhitaryan. And fees have exploded even since those signings. On top of all that, Chelsea may be set to lose their biggest creative talent, with Eden Hazard heavily linked with a summer switch to Real Madrid. And even with Hazard, they're well off Man City's pace and also below United in the table. So their need for a dynamic, goal-scoring forward could become urgent in just a few months' time. With all that in mind, it's likely Chelsea will have to go well past the 30 million mark and maybe even up to 40 to get their man. Wait any longer and that fee could rise even further. So we've covered Bailey's talents and why the attention he's getting makes it important for Chelsea to get in before the price skyrockets even further. But there's another reason why an early summer deal is crucial for the Londoners. If they don't snap him up, someone else will. Let's take a close look at some of the other options Bailey may have. First, the obvious one, Bayern Munich. They may be on course for their 6th Bundesliga title in a row, but there's a couple of big issues in that squad. Issues by the name of Robben and Ribéry. For years now, they've been practically a guaranteed source of goals, but their output has dropped markedly this season. The duo have just 4 goals and 1 assist between them, and considering they're both 34 years old now, this is probably a sign of decline rather than a lack of form. And while Kingsley Coman has added some youth to the Bayern flanks, he's not a consistent enough goalscorer to take the load off Robert Lewandowski. Leon Bailey could well be the answer to their prayers, and we all know how Bayern love to nick top players from other Bundesliga sides. But there's another possibility, one that would be considerably more painful for Chelsea. Their local rivals Arsenal are also reportedly interested in signing Bailey, and again, it makes a whole lot of sense. After losing Alexis Sanchez and Theo Walcott, Arsenal are seriously short of goals and pace out wide. Danny Welbeck is the only genuinely quick wide attacker left in the squad, and the less said about his performances this season, the better. A move for Bordeaux's Brazilian youngster Malcolm seems to have been put on hold at the very least, meaning Arsenal could well be in the market for an alternative. If Chelsea needed any more motivation to get Bailey to sign on the dotted line, surely the thought of him doing his thing draped in red and white will convince them. A young winger with the world at his feet and goals in his boots, and a club that needs to sign him before his price skyrockets even further, or another club steals in. It all adds up to an early summer Bailey bid from Chelsea. Oh, and as I mentioned it earlier, can Puma give it a rest with all this Usain Bolt bullshit? The guy is an absolute legend of the track, but he's 31 and he's never played pro football. This Dortmund trial is pure PR, and the idea he'll sign for them or Man United, or anyone, is frankly insulting our intelligence. But maybe you disagree. Perhaps you think Bailey's just a flash in the pan, or that there's another destination for him. Maybe you even think that Bolt would be a better signing. Let us know in the comments.
So that was the one, the only Leon Bailey, who's one for the future. In terms of the future, how do you think things are looking at Madrid?
Well, things were going really badly for Madrid a little while ago. There were all these jokes going around about Ronaldo being way off the boil, which had never happened before.
Nope.
And bless him, poor Ronaldo, things weren't going quite well. But things are going slightly better for them now. I mean, they had a good result against Valencia at the weekend. They absolutely smashed, I think it was La Coruña 2 weeks ago, 7-1. Absolutely smashed them. But they also had that really poor result against Leganes or Lagoons, in the Copa del Rey, which was pathetic. But look, I mean, it's still Real Madrid. They've still got Zidane in charge. They've still got probably the best 11 in the world, bar maybe Barcelona's and City's. They're in the top 3 still. They've still got these winners, people like Sergio Ramos, Ronaldo, Modric, Toni Kroos. Incredible defence. So look, the future's not bleak for Real Madrid, but they're sort of being taken over by some teams. They used to be the Galactico guys. Everyone wanted to go to Real Madrid, and they still do, but they need a big signing, like a Neymar or someone like that.
Do you think it's a case that they need a big signing, or they need to really do a lot of signings? Is it a case that their side is now aging? That last season was their best season to win everything, and now age has caught up to them like 5 a time, it's undefeated? Or do you still think they've got a couple more good seasons left?
Well, I think the squad they've got isn't so old that they're over it now. They like we saw, Champions League champions last year. So it's not really an issue with the squad. It's a bit of like a mentality. I feel like Madrid are feeling like they're down in the dumps a bit, and maybe they need to make a few changes. But I think Madrid is a sort of club, you make one massive signing and you say, look, we're still top dog. We can still attract anyone we want. Okay, it might not be the answer to the whole team's problems, but they need one like that to make them feel like champions again.
In terms of that team, who do you sign and who do you get rid of? Because obviously they're still pretty much stars, but you've got Ronaldo, you've got Bale, you've got Benzema. Which player do you take out of there? Because I know their big sign is probably going to be attacking players.
Well, the last name you said there, Karim Benzema, I think he's had a really great career at Real Madrid. He's been brilliant. He's been like one of the guys to, really bring that forward play together, brilliant at linking it up. But he's kind of aging, and I think we're going to see probably Harry Kane take over as the new centre forward. I don't know if it will be this summer, but I reckon fairly soon Harry Kane's going to be swapped in.
Do you think he's going to fit the Liga? Is he a Madrid type player?
Obviously
on paper he's money, but do you think he fits the whole Spain ethos and everything that comes with that?
Well, I think he would be the perfect replacement for Karim Benzema, because he is really good on the deck. You know, he can really play the ball around. He's got like the big broad chest that Benzema's got. He's not a particularly rapid player like Benzema. He's got all the sort of same technical skills, but I'd say he's a notch above. And I think, okay, Benzema out and Harry Kane in would be like, bam, Madrid are back.
Yeah. And then in terms of that Benzema out, Harry Kane in, does that mean you need to keep hold of Ronaldo and Bale? Or do you think one of them can be replaced by an Eden Hazard? Or you need to keep those two there, definitely?
Well, I think losing both Ronaldo and Bale would be too much, because they're both still world-class players. I know Bale's has his injury issues, and Ronaldo has had a bit of a lack of form. But to get rid of them both would be mad. But I think one probably needs to go. I think maybe they sell Gareth Bale to someone like Man United or PSG and just cash in, and then they can spend some money on a player like Kane. Or Ronaldo goes somewhere.
Then a quick fantasy question in terms of your manager now, yours Zinedine Zidane. You've got your Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, and then future-wise, you've got Eden Hazard, Neymar, and Kane. Who are you starting up front?
If I had a choice of all of them...
Today, not just in their optimum form, but today, who would you start?
Well, Harry Kane, Neymar, and Ronaldo would be the three I start now. I just think, in terms of like world-class attacking talent, it's hard to look beyond Neymar, really. I mean, Messi aside, probably. I think Neymar is probably now a better player than Ronaldo is now. Ronaldo from 3 or 4 years ago was the best. Everyone knew that, the absolute king. But probably it's just getting to a point now where Neymar's taken over. And I think that signing Neymar or Kane would be such a big boost, because you'd have another younger, brilliant talent.
Well, with that said, we've got Max who's going to talk to you about Real Madrid, about how they've been quiet, but there's something big coming in the summer. So we'll see you soon.
Real have real problems. It's not just a blip, it's not even a mini crisis anymore. Currently they're 4th in the league, an incredible 19 points behind Barcelona. It's their worst league start since 2008, and it could be the first time in 15 years that they finish outside the top 3. Now last week they were knocked out of the cup by mid-table Leganes, and they faced PSG in the Champions League. It's not looking good. The classic fire the coach tactic isn't going to cut it this time. Their issues run deep into an aging squad, and they're running the risk of being left behind. Let's tackle 3 questions. How did it come to this? Who's going to be the new generation of Galacticos? And can they steady the ship, or will they be sunk by their new stadium? It started with a summer of sadness. Missed targets and silly sales meant that Real Madrid well and truly tanked in the transfer market. While PSG laid down some Galactico sums to snap up Neymar and Kylian Mbappe, Real signed just 2 players, left-back Theo Hernandez and midfielder Dani Ceballos, squad players at best. To make matters worse, they depleted their squad by getting rid of experienced players like Danilo, James Rodriguez, Fabio Coentrao and Pepe. This season, Zidane has not trusted his squad. He's basically concentrated on 13 players, and the young guns on the bench are barely getting minutes compared to last season. But the biggest mistake, in my opinion, was selling Alvaro Morata. He wasn't first choice last season, but chipped in with 20 goals from the bench, and this season, Real just can't score. They haven't scored so little at this stage for over 10 years. Gareth Bale has missed 17 games through injury. Karim Benzema has just 2 league goals. Morata has got 10 so far for Chelsea, and the youth product could have become Benzema's successor, and at 62 million euros, there aren't many cheaper alternatives out there. A silly sale. And what makes things worse is that Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't been able to save Real Madrid this season. Ronaldo's unprecedented drop in form might be explained by the arrival of 3 babies to his household. He's done well in the cup competitions, but in the league, his scoring record is 1 goal every 2 games, so while that's decent, it's not regular Ronnie. 8 goals in 16 games doesn't exactly scream Ballon d'Or. So maybe this season is just a write-off. Perhaps Perez was lining his pockets for a big summer spending spree in 2018. So let's take a look at who could be the next generation of Galacticos. Eden Hazard has been on Real's shopping list for some time now, and this deal could happen. Chelsea wouldn't be keen to sell, but at the age of 27, Hazard will probably be pondering his next big contract and is playing in his prime. He won't be winning the Champions League at Chelsea, and Paris Saint-Germain are unlikely to table a bid. Barca have already bulked up on wingers, so the only super club outside England that's left is Real. In recent weeks, there have even been rumours of Ronaldo heading the other way in a sort of swap deal. While that sounds outlandish, I'd say if Aiden is keen, Real can get a deal done. They also might give good old Daniel Levy a call about his two prized assets, Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Now, it's unlikely both of these players will move, but the rumours just aren't going away. Dele Alli could slot into Madrid's midfield three as a younger, more dynamic alternative to Kroos and Modric. His recent dip of form may not decrease his price, but he could push for a move if Levy plays hardball. Harry Kane, on the other hand, is unlikely to resort to any antagonising methods in order to push through a move. The Spurs youth product loves life in North London, which leaves Real with just one option: up the offer until Levy gets weak. The fee here might be ridiculous. Kane is also much more likely to join them if Mauricio Pochettino takes over as Real manager. He's been heavily linked with the job in recent weeks, and he hasn't exactly denied that he'd like to take over the job someday. But can Real and Perez really turn things around? Sacking the coach is the go-to option for Perez, but after back-to-back Champions League wins from Zidane, is there anyone better? Mopo is inexperienced when it comes to playing for titles, and there's even been talk of a sensational Carlo Ancelotti return, but neither seem a massive upgrade on Zizou. What's really going to be vital is the transfer war chest this coming summer. Perez is ready to play, but can he pay? With PSG taking liberties and Chelsea so scared of financial fair play that they're looking to sign Peter Crouch, Madrid have a huge advantage over Europe's biggest clubs, as they actually made a profit in last summer's transfer window. 124 million euros were brought in by sales and just 46 million spent. That's a decent profit of 77 million. Plus, they made some big cuts to the wage bill. So it looks like they could muster a real Real rampage. But they just missed out on a 400 million euro sponsorship deal. Last week, they were granted license to begin redevelopment work on their stadium, including covering the ground with a state-of-the-art retractable roof. A 400 million euro sponsorship deal for the naming rights of the stadium were meant to cover those costs, but that fell through just as the planning was given the green light. Ouch. That'll put a hole in the transfer war chest. Now they may even have to sell more players to fund the revamp. Considering their current form and wage demands, there aren't many takers for Real's biggest cash assets, Bale and Ronaldo. And every club knows how badly Real need big players, so the prices will go up. So next summer's success hinges on three things for me: signing Eden Hazard, reanimating Ronaldo, and just spending PSG-level Galactico sums. What do you think they should do to stop the rot setting in? Sack Zidane, or will they just beat PSG and prove all the doubters wrong? Let us know in the comments.
That was another great feature from Max about what Real Madrid can be doing in the summer. I think something big will happen at Madrid. Quickly, we're going to go to your question. Once again, if you're literally just joining us, click that little subscribe button and download the Onefootball app, so we have all the latest football stories. Question number one from Mo Does 360. Who should United sign? Yes, they're talking about West Ham United. You're talking about Man United.
I think it might be West Ham United. Who should Man United sign? Probably they need to bulk up their defence a little bit. We saw tonight Phil Jones got into a bit of black. Now, Phil Jones has played very well this season. I know that Eric Bailly's pretty solid as well, and they got Marcus Rojo, who's quite good. But I think, you know, Mourinho is a player whose teams always have defended really well, and this Man United team does defend well. Yeah. But I just think they're not as solid as they should be.
I feel like they've been missing the steely defensive midfielder. There's always been the staple of Mourinho-type teams, someone who can just do the job, do the tackling, and doesn't really do much else.
Yeah, well, I don't think you're far wrong with that. I think when Matic came in at the start of the season, he was playing out of his skin, and it looked like they just pulled the rug out from underneath Chelsea. But something's just not working. They're not missing spark going forward. The whole team feels a little lifeless to me.
Yeah.
And maybe a leader at the back would be a good thing. I think they should offload a few players like Chris Smalling. maybe get a long-term right-back solution because Valencia is getting quite old. They need to hang on to De Gea, but they are lacking a bit of leadership.
And a quick question from Matthew Novak is, how about Laurent LeBlanc replacing Wenger? Good or bad choice?
Well, Matthew Novak, thanks for the question. It's good to hear from you. You're always around. Laurent Blanc replacing Wenger would be quite cool. There's the whole French connection. Arsenal have got this long-standing French thing. Obviously, when Arsene Wenger came in with these like revolutionary new ideas from France, he brings in these French players like Lacazette.
But then you were saying earlier you think you should bring some young managerial talent.
But this is the thing. I mean, Laurent Blanc won Ligue 1 last season, the French league with PSG. That was terrible French. I do apologise for that. But I don't think he's the right man. I want to see Thomas Tuchel arrive at Arsenal. He is young. He was schooled in the Jurgen Klopp sort of style of thinking, but that's not to say his team will be as bad at defending as Klopp's. But they won the German Cup last year. He left. It wasn't very amicable when he left Dortmund, but he is a really cool dude with some great ideas. His teams play like fast attacking, cool football, and a young face. What I don't think Arsenal need is an Ancelotti.
Fair enough.
They need a youngster.
Well, I'm going to move you on to our next question from Zero Love 9.
Lovely name.
Which manager do you guys think will enter the Premier League in the summer? Give me 2 names.
Well, Thomas Tuchel, like we've just said, and even though I said he's not the right man for Arsenal, I do think we're going to see Ancelotti rock up somewhere. He seems to be like the go-to guy for some of these clubs in a bit of panic that need like an old wise hand. So Ancelotti will be back, I'm sure.
Old Jedi Master
That's
Ancelotti. So which current teams and signings are World Cup predictions outside of England?
Well, okay, so let's say Belgium aren't going to be, even though Belgium are great. They're a great nation, but they're in England's group, so I don't want to be. Oh, there we go. There's my crest. I don't want to see Belgium do well, but they look sharp. KDB and Eden Hazard are tearing up the Premier League year after year, and I'm a bit worried about them.
I'd love someone to do a national team just based on the value of their players.
Yeah,
because France looks like money-wise, it's a ridiculously expensive.
The French team is eye-wateringly good. Yeah.
Jesus, they should be good. Quickly moving on to a question. Owen Tully says hello. Hello, Owen Tully.
Hey, Owen Tully.
I've seen you lots before. How much time is left? Well, literally about 10 or so minutes, but stick with us. We'll be back. Clayman, who's got an Arsenal crest as his emblem, wants to know, is there any news on Arsenal Manoli's move? Personally, I think maybe there's not enough time to reach an agreement. Which is true, there isn't enough time to reach an agreement, but we're back with Alex, so he can give us an update. Quickly, Alex, first question, any movers and shakers in the transfer market?
Not a huge amount, to be perfectly honest. It looks like all the big clubs have done most of their business.
Drama in the newsroom. Hey, look at him, he's sweating.
So have you had any news on Slimani?
Slimani is not been completely confirmed yet, but
I think it will be.
I think it will do in the next 10 minutes. Liverpool, 2 players have gone out of Liverpool in the last half an hour. Lazar Markovic has gone to Anderlecht until the end of the season, and John Flanagan has gone to Bolton.
2 moves that will shake the foundations of football.
Both of those are loans until the end of the season. So, yeah. But yeah, apart from that...
Wow, goodness me.
It's been a bit of a weird one.
Well, the world was holding its breath on the Flanagan move, so I'm glad we've got that one wrapped up.
Are there any moves that people thought were going to happen but have just fallen through the wayside?
Obviously, the biggest one was Mahrez. I think we all thought 48 hours ago that might happen, but yeah, that hasn't. Earlier on today, Johnny Evans was one that I think a lot of us thought would happen because it wasn't that big amount of money for Arsenal, but yeah, for whatever reason that didn't happen. But yeah, it's been a bit of a funny day, really. It's been a really, really busy January transfer window, but then today, because of the games that were happening, all the big moves happened sort of around 5-6 o'clock, and then all the clubs got a lot of their business done before the games.
Which player do you think?
Sorry, Anton. We're actually just hearing that Mangala from Man City.
Where?
Sam Allardyce has just said that they're close to signing him.
No way!
How long does Allardyce have to do that?
So that what have we got? We are 8 minutes until.
Yeah,
he's
transfer. Little bit
So
of
that would be a loan until the end of the season.
7 minutes. And talking of Everton, they've done a lot of business this transfer window.
Yeah.
What do you think about the business they've done?
Yeah, Cenk Tosun, he didn't start tonight, but he looks like a decent player. He's done well in Turkey. Walcott's got 2 goals tonight. And I was a bit sceptical about that move, to be perfectly honest. I felt like he didn't really fulfil his potential at Arsenal, but he's
scored a lot of goals at Arsenal from a position that he didn't actually begin in.
He's the world's oldest promising youngster, isn't he?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, but no, he scored 2 tonight. He set up 1 last weekend. So no, fair play to him. And yeah, then Mangala tonight. So
the Mangala one's kind of juicy, you know, mainly because he cost City so much money before. It's kind of like an admission of defeat. It never worked out, but there was a player there that they were willing to pay for, I think it was £42 million. So it could be a bit of a coup for Everton there.
There's a quick question from Owen Tully. What do you guys think is the most ridiculous transfer that's happened, and what was the most ridiculous rumour this window? That's a good question.
Oh, there's been a lot of ridiculous rumours. The one that I liked was in the Spanish press earlier on this week, saying that Harry Kane had told Real Madrid that he will go as long as Maurizio Pochettino is the Real Madrid manager.
I heard about that.
Yeah, they get away with a lot in the Spanish press. I don't know about that one, but in terms of ridiculous transfers,
it was crouch to Chelsea for me. That rumour just.
Chelsea was
brilliant. Just brilliant.
I feel like Crouch would have read that rumour and literally would have had a semi.
Yeah, he would have loved it.
He'd had to change his pants, and that would have been that. He wouldn't even have changed them. He'd just sat in his pants and actually.
With his semi, I don't take my pants off when I've got one.
So yeah, in terms of the most ridiculous transfer that actually happened, which one do you think it was?
I might be a bit controversial here, but I think Coutinho to Barcelona.
I just think it's worth the money.
Just don't think he's worth the money at all, to be honest. I
think Barca fans are losing their mind right now.
Barcelona are obviously a huge club, and but they haven't got, in terms of like the big European super clubs, they're not that. They're in a bit of financial trouble at the moment, and I think 140 million for a player like Coutinho, who was good at Liverpool, but I wouldn't say he was one of the top 5 players in the world at the moment. And to pay 140 million for him, I think was a lot of money.
Again, talking about that next generation of players, we just talked about a potential new Real Madrid lineup of Neymar, Kane, and Eden Hazard. Would the new Barcelona lineup be Coutinho, Dembele, and who else fills that other slot?
Well, I suppose Messi is going to be there for the next few years. Suarez is only 31, so he can keep going for the next few years.
But if it was not isn't this year, but going forward, who becomes the new top 3 for Barca? Who do they bring in?
I do like Mbappe. I think he's different. I know Real Madrid have been looking at him for a long time, but I can see him working really well in that Barcelona front 3. You know, in that fluid front 3 that they play. I think Mbappe would be absolutely.
Do you think PSG can be persuaded to sell like a player that just spent ridiculous they're going to spend ridiculous money?
Well, you know, there's financial fair play to think about. You know,
it's worth thinking about that rule, isn't it? It's really harsh, that financial fair play. Damn that financial fair play.
They're going to give away Neymar and they're going to give away Mbappe. It's like, okay, we're good now. We've won a Champions League, hopefully by then. But yeah, on that line, I'd like to thank you for joining us, Alex. And if you hear of a crazy move that happens in the next minute or so, then run down those stairs and we'll get you straight into one of these chairs and you can tell us right now. But yeah, we'll see you later, mate.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Yeah. So yeah, that has been the rumours throughout the day. We're still here though, and up until a couple, 3, 4, 5 minutes from now. We're going to go through your questions and do some shout-outs. Zero Love 9, shout out for joining us. Owen Tully, thanks for joining us. And that's a really good question. Papa players, how much time is left? Well, pretty much nothing's left yet. All the other people, Mo does, 360, Matthew Novak, thank you for joining us. If you're still here, then quickly comment away. We want to see some of your questions. Most disappointing non-signing?
Mahrez for me. I was looking forward to seeing Mahrez join Man City. I thought just having that little bandy-legged genius rock up and throw a bit of an extra attacking force in there would have been cool. So I was a little bit gutted about that. But It's been a good window anyway.
And then signing that you've been most happy with?
Oh, a signing I've been most happy with. I think. Well, I tell you what I like. I like the neat and tidiness of the Aubameyang, Batshuayi, and Giroud merry-go-round triple-way swap.
I thought for a while that one team would be like, actually, I'm just going to scupper it all. I'm going to make sure my players didn't go anywhere. Because it's going to checkmate Arsenal or checkmate whoever. But they all kind of decided, actually, let's do some good business. I think it's been good business for Batshuayi. He's the kind of player that needs to be playing. Yeah. Giroud needs to be playing. And Aubameyang looks like he just needs a second chance to be able to really prove himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've discussed it a little bit today. A friend of mine, Jack, just pinged me a message as well saying, "What do you reckon about Aubameyang? Is he good enough really to step in and you know fill the boots of Giroud leaving, and can he take him to the next level?" I think Aubameyang's got a point to prove. He's finally at Borussia Dortmund, great big huge club, but he's finally at a Premier League team where he wanted to strut his stuff. Got a fresh slate, new fans, and I think that's going to be a great move for him. So I think Aubameyang is going to be an absolute success story.
And then finally, for our Chelsea fans, onto Olivier Giroud. What can they expect from him? Do you think he's going to be a good player for Chelsea, or he's just going to be a good one?
Well, I think the first thing they can definitely expect is a goal at the Emirates Stadium against Arsenal. Yeah. That's going to happen. It always happens when players move between two rival clubs. He's going to get a winning goal at some point in an FA Cup final or who knows what at some point down the years. But what they're actually getting is, apart from a devilishly handsome man, the freshest cat in the Premier League, they're getting someone who knows how to score, and they're getting someone they actually needed. They were looking at Crouch and Carroll because they were panicking. They wanted a big, barrel-chested, aerial king, and he's the best in the Premier League at that.
Pretty much.
They've pulled the rug out underneath Arsenal's feet right at the last, I think.
And then in terms of Manchester United, do you really think they've done enough? Is Sanchez going to be that difference maker to fill that gap between them and City, or do you think they've got way more that they need to do?
No, I think Man United need to stop focusing on these juicy oranges, as Mourinho said, and they need to just think about a real team strategy plan, like Pep's instilling at City and Pochettino has already put into Spurs. Mourinho needs to just forget these juicy oranges and start buying quality players that work in a system. System is key.
But then, obviously, Mourinho's literally just signed a new contract. Is it a case that Mourinho's days, despite that contract, are numbered? If he's spent ridiculous money in terms of wages for Sanchez, Pogba was big money, Lukaku was big money. If this season he doesn't do well in terms of bringing home a trophy, how many more patience do you think the Manchester United board will give?
Well, they'll have barely any patience because they've bent over backwards and given him everything he wanted. Every time he's asked for something, Ed Woodward's gone out and flashed the cash and got him it. He's got Sanchez now. You can't just keep. I mean, they had a great season last season, so there's no panic at Man United. But if they don't win something of value this year, the pressure's going to be 0 to 100 because he's got everything he asked for.
So then, finally, Ed, what's been your best moment of this January transfer window?
Oh, well, my favourite moment was the Crouch rumour as we've been through it. Just brilliant. Like, I'd love that for old Crouchy. It would have been awesome. I like Theo Walcott getting a brace today. Yeah. He had something to prove. And like I said, I'm glad for Batshuayi, who never really got a fair crack of the whip at Chelsea, finally going to a club that need a striker. He'll be top dog. And please, Michy Batshuayi, just hit the ground running and prove everyone what a great striker you are.
Well, on that final note, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what has happened in terms of the biggest movers and shakers. Obviously, we began the day with Batshuayi going to Borussia Dortmund, which released the door for Aubameyang to come to Arsenal, which released the door for Giroud to go to Chelsea. We also have some moves where Slimani might be becoming a Newcastle player. That hasn't been confirmed yet. Laporte became a new defender for Manchester City. Sanchez obviously joined Manchester United, and Mkhitaryan obviously joined Arsenal. It's been a crazy window in terms of money spent. Actually, the most money's been spent in any other window. Fun fact for you to know that Manchester City have spent more on their defence than 52 countries have money-wise for their military defence. So hopefully Laporte is actually going to be some kind of tank.
That is a great stat to end the show on.
I'd like to thank you for watching. And if you're new to the channel, please click subscribe. And if you're new to the app, make sure you download the Onefootball app. We'll keep bringing you all of the football stories. So once again, it's been Antoine Allen and Mr.
Ed McCambridge.
Thank you for watching, and we are the Housewives' favourites. See you soon.